Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Reborn Mantis, devouring flesh and blood to start infinite evolution. Chapter 61. Hongying, what kind of plan is this? Locusts are a Zerg race that wins by numbers. There are at least 30,000 of them in one camp. With me, there are only 2 of us. If we go out rashly, we will easily be surrounded and beaten. Moreover, this race never knows fear. I remember that your talent can hide your body, why don't you? It turned its head and found that Lu Qing rushed towards the locusts with a big knife. I haven't finished my plan yet, and you rushed. Of course Lu Qing would rush. As for the hidden talent, that is used for assassination. With my strength, I can already cut the 9th grade hard, so I still need to open the talent. As soon as he rushed out, the 2 big knives were like harvesters, directly wiping out a group of locusts. Locusts below the 5th grade are of no value to him, so Lu Qing specifically looks for places with high grades to rush to. For this big mantis that suddenly jumped out, the locusts quickly began to fearlessly and mindlessly besiege. However, Lu Qing's big knife was really terrifying, and large groups of locusts were harvested. 3 5-meter-long locusts with green wings rushed straight to the battle site. As an old rival, Hongying recognized at a glance that these 3 were the generals of the locust camp. 3 8th grade locusts arrived together. No matter how strong you are, you can't fight 3 alone. Hongying hurriedly caught up with Lu Qing. 3 8th grade locust generals are here. These 3 are quite difficult to deal with. So, I need some time to deal with 1. Can you hold 2? Seeing that Lu Qing didn't respond, it thought that Lu Qing was not very good. It's a bit difficult, but there is no other way in this situation. You hold 2, I will deal with 1 8th grade locust as soon as possible. 3 8th grade locust generals arrived, and the swarming locusts automatically gave up an area. Hongying confirmed again, just do as I say, you must hold 2, otherwise we have no chance of turning the tables. After that, without waiting for Lu Qing's response, it rushed directly to one of them. The 3 locust generals were also quite angry. There were actually mantises that came to their territory, and there were only 2 of them. Isn't this a contempt for the locusts? Kill them, eat them. 3 locusts simultaneously used their hind legs to rush forward like cannonballs. Hongying, who had already taken action, successfully intercepted one of them. The sky-covering locusts had no sense of pain and no sense of fatigue. Hongying was sure that she could deal with 1, but it would take a long time. Lu Qing, you have to hold on. Once I deal with this 1, we can turn the tables. Single quote. Hongying dodged the locust's ejection, and was really worried about Lu Qing's situation, so she took the time to turn her head and take a look. However, this one look made Hongying stand there in a daze. Its plan was to let Lu Qing hold 2, and then quickly deal with 1. However, it did see Lu Qing hold 2 locusts. Daozu hung upside down, took out the energy core of the 8th grade locust general, and then dragged the headless body out. I asked you to hold those 2 8th grade locusts, and you killed them in seconds. It was really a second. Because it took only a few breaths from the time it intercepted 1 to the time it turned around to look. In this short time, Lu Qing had already beheaded it and even took out the energy core. After doing all this, Lu Qing's figure suddenly became erratic, and the next moment he was directly in front of the last locust. As soon as the knife fell, the locust's head flew out directly. This speed, Hongying, a bystander, didn't react. Yes, this is a beetle of the same grade that can be killed. It's not too easy to deal with locusts with extremely ordinary defense. Lu Qing said embarrassedly, I'm sorry to take your locust. Mainly because I'm afraid it will run away. This is experience value. If it really runs away, it will take a lot of effort to catch it back. Hongying finally reacted. It knew that Lu Qing might be very strong. But it really didn't expect that he was so strong. 3 8th grade locust generals were killed instantly without even a chance to struggle. Strong jumping ability and extremely fast speed are useless in front of Lu Qing. Not afraid of pain, tiredness, or death, there is no room for them to play in front of Lu Qing. So strong, too strong, stronger than you can imagine. If it weren't for the size limit, it would even suspect that Lu Qing was a 9th grade mantis. Both are 8th grade, but the gap is so huge. Lu Qing skillfully took out the energy core and dealt with dozens of locusts that surrounded him. Even without the general, these locusts still rushed forward fearlessly. The key is that many of them are low grade. Lu Qing didn't care whether he had experience or not, and he just accepted them all. He killed them all with 2 big swords. Hong Ying killed a few low-grade locusts, and when he looked around, the sky and the ground were densely packed with locusts. Locusts are fearless and there are too many of them here. Let me gather a large force to wipe them out. Lu Qing swung his sword and more than a dozen locusts died. That's good. You don't have to get in the way here. Hong Ying. If it was before, it would have retorted. Judging from Lu Qing's performance just now, he was right. Hong Ying spread its wings and flew away, then left the battle circle and returned to the camp. This tireless fighting machine could kill double-digit locusts every time it swung its sword. The experience points provided by the 6th and 7th grades are Lu Qing's endurance power. Soon the ground was covered with the corpses of locusts. Hong Ying flew all the way. It was already evening when he returned to the camp. He had no time to rest and immediately summoned a large force. A large group of Mantis combat teams were summoned. General, it's already night, why are you summoning us? Hong Ying only explained, night attack on the locust camp. One commander was obviously a little uncomfortable, night attack at night. Another commander took over, is it still called a night attack if we go out during the day? But the number of locusts is huge, almost 3 or 4 times ours. Can we get any advantage if we go? I don't know, but it's always right to listen to the general. Where is the lone hero Lu Qing? Seeing that the summons were completed, Hong Ying announced, Lu Qing has already raided the locust camp, and now we have to rush to support at full speed. The lone hero has gone. The red tasseled sword foot waved, let's go. The Mantis army was on the way, and some commanders also gathered together to discuss. Just now the general said that Lu Qing has gone to the locust camp. Locusts are a large species, not afraid of death, and tireless. Do you think Lu Qing is trapped, so they asked us to support him? It is very likely. Although Lu Qing is strong, he is only in 8th grade strength. It is reasonable for him to be trapped by locusts. I didn't expect that we would have a day to rescue a lone hero, ha ha ha, I feel much better. Shut up, the locust camp is ahead. The Mantis army enters the locust territory. All you can see are locust corpses scattered all over the ground. Densely packed and extremely terrifying. There were tens of thousands of locusts, but not a single one was seen alive. The commanders, big and small, are all confused. Didn't they agree to support? If there aren't any left to kill, how can you support them? Is this the support the general is talking about? They are all dead, at least chopped into 2 pieces. These are tens of thousands of migratory locusts. Didn't they say that migratory locusts are fast and explosive? Why are they all so miserable? First it was the beetle camp, and now it's the locust camp. Is this Lu Qing a mantis? Too fierce. Let's see what the general's arrangements are. Yes, where is General Hong Ying? Hong Ying was also surprised when she looked at the locust corpses everywhere. I brought a large army to support you, but you killed them all long ago. Tens of thousands. Even if these locusts stand there and let the general chop them down, they will die from exhaustion. However, Lu Qing completed it alone in such a short period of time. This time, the Mantis army that followed was completely a decoration. No, it can still be ended. Some of the tenacious locusts that had been cut into 2 parts were not completely dead yet, and these mantises were going to make a last-ditch attack. Then pull the fat ones back to make jerky. Chinka on the side asked in a low voice, General, is this the support you are talking about? Hong Ying glanced at it and said, it's unnecessary. Are you saying that our support is too much? No, I mean what you said is redundant. Go and clean up the battlefield. The mantises began to tidy up. Hong Ying began to look for Lu Qing. Ordinarily, since this camp has been completely wiped out, Lu Qing should be here as well. Why can't I see it now? Could it be? Locusts have 2 camps. When it arrived, it had already told Lu Qing the location of the other camp. Now that the camp has been emptied, then Hong Ying perked up. Then he led the elite team to the next locust camp. Really, Hong Ying and the other praying mantises saw from a distance the army of locusts that was covering the sky and sun, surrounding a certain place. Through the dense migratory locusts, you can see a red figure constantly slashing left and right. Every time the red shadow flashed, swarms of locusts were chopped into 2 pieces. That was Lu Qing. The explosive and fast migratory locust has no cards in front of Lu Qing. The two knives swept across and were harvested like weeds. Even though Lu Qing is so powerful, these locusts still don't know what fear is, and they go forward without fear of death. The mantises that followed Hongying suddenly became excited. Mud, after struggling all night, I finally saw some live migratory locusts. General, give the order, my big, cough, the knife is already hungry and thirsty. Yes, give the order to charge. If you don't give the order, we will all run for nothing and we will not even have the chance to draw our swords. With Lu Qing's harvesting speed, they were really afraid that they wouldn't have a chance to use their swords to enjoy themselves. Hongying was also unambiguous, and she waved her sword. Attack! A group of praying mantises pounced on him with their fangs and claws wide open. They watched Lu Qing kill him like a blade of grass, but when he actually took action, they realized that was not the case. The locust's hind legs are still very powerful and its speed is still very fast. It is not afraid of pain or tired, and it is still very difficult to deal with as always. That is to say, they took advantage of the initial raid and had Lu Qing massacre a large number of elites. If there was a head-on confrontation, these mantises would probably be drowned directly. These mantises are a force after all. This also shortened the time Lu Qing had to kill low-grade migratory locusts. After the pressure suddenly decreased, I glanced around and found that only a few migratory locusts were still fighting with the mantis army. He retracted his sword and glanced at Hongying, who was approaching. Just as Hongying was about to speak via voice, she was interrupted by Lu Qing. We have a good relationship, but we have to settle the score. I destroyed this camp alone, and your help is very limited. I won't snatch the 5th grade energy core from you, but everything above 5th grade will belong to me. Quote, friendship is friendship, and it is impossible to give you any experience points. Hongying was speechless after hearing this. A mantis can't consume an energy core of the same quality for several months. Do you think everyone is like you, taking energy cores as snacks? Ordinary mantises consume very little. We still have a lot of energy cores in our warehouse. They are enough for an army to use for 50 years. How can we snatch them from you? What? Lu Qing's eyes suddenly glowed red. There are huge amounts of energy cores in the warehouse. Yeah, Hongying felt something was wrong. That's military resources. I understand. Lu Qing nodded with a sincere attitude. We'll talk about this later. I'll collect the energy cores first. After saying that, he returned to the battlefield, skillfully and lightly taking out the energy core of a 6th grade migratory locust and throwing it into its mouth. After finishing the work, dawn has broken in the east. Lu Qing glanced at the experience bar. 6,547 8,000ths. There are still 1,500 experiences, and it will be enough to annihilate another large camp. But having said that, at the junction of the 3 places, the camps of the other 2 tribes have been pulled out by themselves, and if they want to pull it out again, they have to pull out the mantis camp. And, Hongying said there are a lot of energy cores in the warehouse. Lu Qing glanced at Hongying, who was commanding the mantis army. Hongying shuddered as if she had sensed something. Hiss, why do I feel a little cold? Lu Qing was not in a hurry. After returning to the mantis camp, he rested for a day, and when he was full of energy, he went to look for Hongying. Hongying was very relaxed at this time. At the junction of the 3 tribes, the camps of the other 2 tribes were completely wiped out, and the initiative was completely on her side. Whether to occupy or nibble away depends on the queen's mind. All this is thanks to, hey, General Hongying, you are quite leisurely. After Lu Qing walked in, he squatted on the grass. Hongying saw that it was Lu Qing, so she handed over a locust leg meat. Come on, it's just dried, and the taste is very pure. Lu Qing was not interested in these. He pushed it away with his knife foot. I'm picky and don't eat such ordinary things. This, ordinary. Hongying was a little puzzled. Which mantis can refuse a piece of meat? Then it suddenly realized, oh, by the way, you like to eat energy cores. Look, you just mentioned this. Lu Qing nodded repeatedly. Yeah. General, you are so smart. I was praised by a lone hero. You know, in the current mantis camp, Lu Qing is simply a godlike existence. Being praised by Lu Qing, the general felt a little flattered. Ha, not bad. Lu Qing patted his stomach. After a day of rest, I am actually a little hungry. Hey, I don't want to eat ordinary things. Eat energy cores, we have them in our camp warehouse. Got it. Smart. Lu Qing nodded again. Yeah. After Lu Qing nodded, he asked again, there are no restrictions, right? Hongying thought for a while. There are restrictions for other mantises, and they need military merits to exchange, but you are the killer god of our Hongying camp. You have wiped out the beetle and locust camps alone. Your military merits are so high that they cannot be counted. Of course, there are no restrictions. No restrictions are good. Lu Qing's two blade feet rubbed against each other. How embarrassing. Hongying immediately waved his blade feet. It's nothing. After all, there are so many energy cores, you can't eat them all. The Zerg's expression has always been so straightforward. After so many years of accumulation, there are hundreds of thousands of energy cores in the entire camp warehouse. Lu Qing wiped out 3 camps, and the most energy cores he ate at one time were the 2 camps of locusts the day before yesterday. The 6th to 8th grades added together, there are only 300 or 400. How much more can he eat? 1,000 is the limit. Its mantis warehouse is not short of this 1,000. Hongying thought that Lu Qing couldn't eat much, but she didn't know that his eating had a secret. Lu Qing was in a good mood. Freeloader. Then General Hongying, let's act quickly. Hongying was not vague, and went to the warehouse with Lu Qing carrying the locust leg. On the way, Lu Qing asked a question. Why don't we see warehouses or anything like that in the camps of the sky-covering locusts and the fighting saint beetles? Hongying gave an explanation. Of course they don't have the habit of storing things. For example, the sky-covering locusts, this Zerg species eats everything, and never chooses between grass and meat. Moreover, their digestion speed of energy cores is much faster than ours. A lot of energy is excreted from the body before being absorbed, so there is naturally no need to store them. It became more and more excited as it spoke. In fact, among the Zerg, our mantis tribe's blade feet have brought us great convenience. The blade feet can allow us to do many things, such as building sheds. Our blade feet are unique among the Zerg. The blade feet can cut meat skillfully and dig out energy cores completely. In addition, our absorption is slow, so we can store them. Mantis, a great race. You haven't seen the world. Lu Qing didn't say much, but nodded his triangular head in agreement. Hongying's blade feet pointed to a thatched house in front. It's in front. The huge thatched house was very sloppy. But the site was well chosen, with an open and raised terrain, not afraid of flooding, and conducive to ventilation. Because the warehouse is an important place after all, there are special patrol teams here, and there are also several record officers. Mantises have no written language, and the record of military exploits depends entirely on Hongying's button seal. The so-called button seal is to take a kind of grass as wide as bamboo and use the serrations of the blade to make marks. Mantises are different from mantises, and the marks they make are naturally different. This is a peculiar way of recording. Hongying led Lu Qing into the warehouse. The record officers greeted him. After knowing that Lu Qing came to eat energy cores, they were not surprised. After entering, they saw piles of energy cores. These energy cores have been classified. Grade 1, Grade 2, and Grade 3 have been piled up into a mountain. Grade 4 and Grade 5 are slightly less. There are also 2 large piles of Grade 6. Grade 7 is very rare, probably only a few dozen. Grade 8. What about Grade 8? Lu Qing was anxious. One Grade 8 is hundreds of experience points. Hongying said helplessly, 8th rank. General level of the main camp. After so many years of fighting, who dares to charge directly into the main camp like you? And no matter what race it is not so easy to kill an 8th rank general. Anyway, since I was born, I heard that there are only a few 8th rank generals who have been killed. Lu Qing thought about it. That's right. The Zergs are constantly fighting, but there are few decisive battles, especially in places where the 3 races are in conflict with each other, and basically no decisive battles will be launched. It's a pity that there is no 8th rank energy core, but it's not a big deal. Free stuff, only with flaws is it free stuff. After listening to Hongying's statement, Lu Qing noticed the details in its words. Wait, are you saying that there are 8th rank energy cores in other places? Yes, the queen has them in the treasury, as for the number, I don't know. Okay, queen. Lu Qing can't wait to meet the queen. Okay, after I deal with the energy cores in the warehouse, you will take me to see the queen. I've had this idea for a long time. Lu Qing focused his attention on the 7th grade energy cores in front of him. There are dozens of them, and there are also a lot of experience points. Concentrate on experience. He picked up one with his blade and threw it into the mouthparts. The energy core was instantly absorbed and stored by the system. Get flesh and blood value plus 45 feet. The action did not stop. In a short while, all 32 7th grade energy cores were converted into experience. The experience slot skyrocketed. Sure enough, freeloading makes me happy. Happy Lu Qing started to brush the 6th grade energy cores. 2 levels lower, the experience points that can be provided are only in the single digit. Get flesh and blood value plus 2 feet. It's a little less, but it's a lot. This pile must be thousands. Thousands of energy cores, that's more than 10,000 experience points. Upgrade steadily, and you can even save nearly 10,000 experience points. After all, there is experience in advancement. Lu Qing guessed that it might take 30,000 to 50,000 experience points to upgrade from the secondary stage to the advanced form. That is to say, I have to save it. I have to save it, because there are too few high-quality insects of the 8th and 9th grades on the insect grassland. If I upgrade to the 9th grade directly, I may not even be able to upgrade after killing the mantis tribe. It is boring and happy to get something for free, and Lu Qing likes this kind of boredom. He threw energy cores into his mouthparts one by one, and he was very happy. But Hongying, who had been watching from the side, was not happy. According to its guess, 1,000 energy cores should be Lu Qing's limit. Why is this? He never stops eating. He should have eaten hundreds of them at this moment. Not to mention stopping, his movements did not slow down at all. He even ate faster and faster, as if he was never full. Hongying felt that his energy cores were dripping with blood. Brother, this is the accumulation of our camp for decades. He felt so distressed, but he did not stop it. Compared with these energy cores, Lu Qing's achievements were. I can't comfort myself at all. Hongying was afraid that she would really bleed if she continued to watch, so she turned around and left a sentence. I'll wait for you outside. You, open it and eat. Lu Qing heard it. Well, it's exquisite, and you're helping me. I won't let the general down, I'll definitely open it. Hongying, no, can't you hear my gnashing voice? It leaned on the grass wall and went out, still comforting itself in its heart. It's okay, 2,000 is definitely the limit he can eat. Single quote. Eat 2,000, we still have a lot of storage. Single quote. Don't panic. Single quote. Hongying walked out of the warehouse with the help of the wall, and then waited quietly at the door. The recorders came up curiously. General, what are you doing? Lu Qing is eating energy cores. I can't bear to watch, so I came out to get some fresh air. Can't bear to watch. What does that mean? Does the energy core prick your mouth? General, what's so hard about that? This, Hongying was stunned for a moment, and then waved her sword foot, eat too fast. Eat fast. Lu Qing is very special. He can eat an energy core in one bite. The whole mantis camp knows it. How much can he eat? The recorder didn't realize the seriousness of the matter at all, and still persuaded Hongying calmly. Our camp has a history of several decades, and we have accumulated a lot. What's a little energy core? General, don't be so stingy. I'm stingy. Hongying almost died of anger. The mantis tribe communicates directly, and it can't be blamed no matter how angry it is. I'm stingy. I let him eat as much as he wants, and I'm still stingy. Then you haven't seen how he eats. Forget it, you'll know in a moment. Several recorders looked nonchalant. No matter how much he eats, he can still eat up the warehouse. Hongying was too lazy to talk nonsense, and turned around and ignored them. Time passed bit by bit. But Lu Qing's actions never stopped. Thousands of energy cores are enough for him to brush them patiently for a while. Finally, Lu Qing's knife foot touched nothing. Looking back, the ground was empty. Eat it all. The experience slot was already full, and there was no need to look at it. The rest were energy cores below the 5th grade, which could not provide experience. So Lu Qing, who was getting something for free, chose to stop. After he stood up, he retracted his knife foot. Beautiful. Then he swayed out of the warehouse. Outside, Hongying saw Lu Qing coming out and instantly became nervous. It's out. Yeah, the recorder asked directly, how much did you eat? Not much, less than 30%. The recorder nodded his triangular head. It thought he was talking about 30% of the 6th grade energy cores. 30% is indeed not much. I'll write it down later. The recorder said a few words and then looked towards the warehouse. The low-grade area was piled up like a mountain. The 4th and 5th grades were still the same. The 6th and 7th grades. Hey, where are the things? The recorder shook his head and looked again. The 6th and 7th grade energy cores were gone. There were not many 7th grade ones, but they were top grade ones. Everyone wanted them if they had a chance, which was understandable. But the 6th grade, 2 big piles, thousands of them. The pile would be twice the size of the 8th grade mantis. Master Lu. You are talking about 30% of the total. Lu Qing, what else? He looked at Hongying. General, it's okay here, let's go. Go, Hongying needs help. Decades of accumulation in the Mantis camp, you finished it in just 1 hour. I, as a general, will have to eat the 5th grade food to improve my strength in the future. Business is more important. General Hongying, follow me. Lu Qing turned back. Hongying, okay, this general is still tolerant, but why do I want to kill you so much? I don't dare. Here I come. Hongying's steps were a little weak. Several recorders shivered while holding the grass wall. It's over. The commanders above the 6th grade have nothing to eat. Don't panic. Recently, we have harvested a lot of beetle and locust corpses. The high-grade corpses are not as effective, but they can still be used. Think too much. Those good things have been divided by the commanders. Who can get them? Of course it's General Hongying. Could it be me? Lu Qing squatted lazily on the grass. It's really fun to gain experience. Once the excitement is over, I want to do it again. It feels that 7 times a night is not too much. There is no experience to be provided on the border here. Next, I should consider job hopping. General Hongying's treasury is really huge. It took me so long to brush it. Hongying was depressed. As long as you are happy. Lu Qing turned sideways. Is there any other place where I can get energy cores above the 6th level? Still coming. You are addicted, right? Brother, you have eaten up all the warehouses. The only things left are the corpses. If you want them, I guess the commanders will give them to you at the command. As for the others, the camps of the 2 tribes have been destroyed. What else can we have? That makes sense. Forget about the corpses. Eating them won't do much. The corpses of the 8th level only give a few experience points, which is not enough to cover the gap of tens of thousands of experience points. Speed brushing is Lu Qing's goal. Okay then. Lu Qing sighed. I am used to living in such a good place, but now there is nothing. Hey, it's time to find the queen. Hongying's eyes lit up. Go find it quickly. We can't afford to support you, the god of killing. With joy and anticipation in his heart, his voice was trembling. Really? When are we leaving? I'll let Mantis take you. No, I'll personally take you to see the queen. Lu Qing smiled and said, how thoughtful. I'm a little reluctant to let you go. No, please don't. Let's go now. Lu Qing suddenly wasn't in a hurry. 2 days of rest. Besides, how can you, a great general, leave the camp without permission? Don't rest. The queen has countless good things. The energy core is just one of them. There are many things that are better than the energy core. If anything happens to you if you wait any longer, you will suffer a big loss. There are not many things going on here, and I need to report the results of the battle to the queen in person. There is no problem in leaving for 10.5 days. That makes sense. Let's go then. Let's go, Hongying said decisively. The insect-chirping grassland is vast. The territory controlled by Mantis was also very large. It took Lu Qing and Hongying 2 days to fly from southwest to northeast. Just before noon on the 3rd day, they finally arrived. Hongying perked up and said, just cross this river. The Queen's capital is extremely prosperous and lively. You'd better be prepared. Extremely prosperous and bustling. Lu Qing is even more interested. He wanted to see how the civilization of the Mantis tribe was developing. Arriving above the creek, the red-tasseled knife foot pointed at the creek. Although this river is not wide, there are very ferocious spearfish in it. They are very ferocious. You may be attacked as long as you get close to 10 meters above the ground. You have to be careful. Fish. Fish have no energy core and need to eat their flesh and blood to gain energy experience. The way of eating is not important, the important thing is that the fish can also provide experience. What are the strengths of these spearfish? Above the 6th grade, there have been 9th grade spearfish. Because the attack method is very concealed and fast, it is difficult to guard against. We cannot enter the water and can only be passive. Even I have a very difficult time catching the 6th grade spearfish. Facing high level, the product is only worthy of being attacked. Lu Qing said, "Oh, if there is really no place to earn experience, this river is an option." He wrote it down secretly. After flying over the stream and traveling for dozens of miles, Lu Qing saw the magnificent Mantis city described by Hongying. There were indeed thatched houses, which looked a little more exquisite than the camp. Of course, there were only a few, because the level of these thatched houses was not as good as the cornstalk shed built by a 5-year-old child. The ground was also repaired, and the traces of treatment were very obvious, so it looked a little flat. There were also walls. They were just some hard trees, which were sharpened and inserted into the soil. They seemed to have some defensive power, but in fact they could not stop any Zerg. They were useless and a typical face-saving project. This was the capital city that Hongying was proud of. It was boasted to the sky, but the result was this. Of course, as a mantis, it was not easy to do this. At least they already had the concept of a city. Hongying flew closer, and her voice transmission was full of pride. "How is it, magnificent?" "This is okay." Lu Qing tried to pick some good words to express it. But Hongying was unhappy. "Have you ever seen the world? How magnificent and spectacular, and it's actually okay here. I've seen too much. There's no need to argue about this matter. After all, Lu Qing didn't come here to argue. Yes, it's magnificent and spectacular, it blinded my eyes." Hongying was satisfied. "That's right, all right, let's land. There are rules in the capital, you can't fly in the sky." After they landed, the Mantis soldiers came forward. After seeing that it was Hongying, these Mantis soldiers greeted him. It turned out to be General Hongying. "You haven't been back for a while." "Who is this? Why does he look so unfamiliar? Hiss, this body shape, he must be of the 8th rank. Your camp has a new 8th rank. Congratulations." Hongying said complacently. "Yes, my Hongying camp has a new 8th rank, and I'm just going to find the queen to discuss this matter." On the insect grassland, the 8th rank is definitely the most powerful one. There are only a dozen or so 8th grade mantises in the Mantis clan, and every promotion represents a stronger overall clan strength. This is a great thing. These Mantis soldiers looked at Lu Qing with respect. Lu Qing did not care about this, but looked at everything in the capital. The capital is huge, and there are all kinds of mantises in it, including some small mantises with only low-level strength. When passing by an open space, hundreds of small mantises were seen receiving combat training. Learning to fight is like going to school, and it is a compulsory course for mantises. Lu Qing took a few glances, and Hongying explained, "The little mantises are born with only the level of low-level 3rd grade, and they need to be trained during the growth period to become secondary warriors. Born low-level 3rd grade is not bad. Wild mantises are only 1st grade when they grow up." The most complex and largest thatched house in the entire capital is the Queen's Palace. General Hongying went in to report, while Lu Qing waited outside. Not far away there was a team of inner guards. The strength of these inner guards was around 6th grade. Lu Qing, who had nothing to do, walked over. "Brothers, come and do the work." Lu Qing was an 8th rank general after all, and his body was 1/3 larger than theirs. His pair of blade feet was even more exaggeratedly large, and the intimidation was very strong. All the inner guards nodded and bowed. "Yes, what's your name?" 8th rank general. He might be a general who was about to open a camp, there would be no harm in communicating more. Lu Qing, a soldier in Hongying's camp. Several inner guards looked at the huge blade feet. "Are you a soldier?" "Don't you think so?" Of course they didn't believe it. How could there be an 8th rank soldier? Definitely not. 8th rank. Our Mantis clan. No, the peak of the entire insect singing grassland. who can open a camp, how could they be just a soldier? Although he slaughtered 3 camps and his military exploits were unprecedented, strictly speaking, he was still a soldier. Hongying had always wanted to promote him, but he didn't agree. After chatting for a few words, Lu Qing pointed to the palace. The queen's palace is so luxurious, there must be a lot of treasures inside, right? Of course, our Mantis clan is so prosperous and powerful, there must be a lot of treasures. Lu Qing was delighted. Tell me in detail. Okay. Mantises don't have any tricks, they just answer whatever Lu Qing asks. The queen's body is a circle larger than Hongying. It is already at the peak of the 8th rank, not far from the 9th rank. If it breaks through to the 9th rank, it will be the first queen to reach the 9th rank in the last 3 generations. In appearance, its wings are pink, which is very different from many mantises. This pink is also called Queen Pink in the Mantis clan. It squatted on the light red grass mat, and it really looked a bit like a queen. Hongying, why are you back? Didn't I ask you to find an opportunity to attack the Fighting Saint Beetle camp a few days ago? A few years ago, there was a sign that the 9 Domains Holy Land was opened, and it was for this reason that the conflicts and struggles among the 9 insect clans became more and more intense. About half a year ago, the Beetle King broke into the territory of their Mantis tribe. After being discovered, they fought fiercely. The Mantis tribe was really powerless against the high defense of the beetle and suffered a great loss. The 2 tribes, which were originally in deep conflict, became mortal enemies. For this reason, the queen sent a message to Hongying in the distance, asking them to seize the beetle camp and take revenge if they had the chance. The order was given, but the queen knew it was almost impossible. She just wanted to increase the pressure from the far end to contain the fight for the 9 Domains Holy Land. Unexpectedly, it has only been a few months, and Hongying, the general of the camp, has returned. Hongying, the queen said to attack. The beetle camp is gone, and even the 2 locust camps have been broken. What am I going to attack? Hongying organized her words and then slowly expressed. The beetle camp has been wiped out. No, it should be said that it has been completely wiped out. The queen on the straw mat sat up suddenly. Hongying only then discovered that there was a huge scar on the queen's belly. What did you say? It obviously didn't believe it. The strength of the border camp is almost the same as that of the main camp, otherwise the border would not have remained unchanged for so many years. Moreover, the beetle is a high defense species that restrains the high attack of the mantis. If you want to break through the beetle camp, it is only possible if you absolutely crush it in number and pay a huge price. The strength of the Hongying camp is just so, and the queen does not think it has the ability to destroy the beetle camp. That's why she asked again with such doubt. Hongying was calm and composed. I said, the beetle camp has been destroyed. Except for a few low-level ones who escaped, all of them were killed or injured. This time, its voice transmission was very clear. Hongying had no reason to lie to herself. And for such a thing, you only need to send a mantis to fly back and forth to find out. The queen sat down again and tried to calm herself down. Then tell me, how did you break the beetle camp? Hongying, it's very simple, just a mantis can do it. The queen was stunned. Only 1 mantis is needed to deal with it. If it was that easy, there would be no fighting among the 9 tribes. Your joke is not funny at all. What a joke. I don't believe it. Hongying was very serious. The matter of the mantis tribe is not a joke. The queen stood up again, spread her wings and came to Hongying. Your camp should be the strongest general. Although your strength is not bad, it is not the strongest among the 7 camps of my mantis. Not to mention that you alone, even if you are given another camp, it is unlikely to wipe out a beetle camp. This is the truth. Hongying also knows. The key is that there is a strong and abnormal mantis in its camp. The indestructible shell of the beetle is no different from weeds in front of Lu Qing. My camp was indeed the strongest before, but not now. Hongying continued to explain. My camp has added a new one. 8th grade. A very strong 8th grade, ridiculously strong. He alone killed all the beetles above the 6th grade in the beetle camp. The more the queen listened, the more surprised she was. A very strong 8th grade. A mantis took on the entire beetle camp. And won. This is absolutely impossible. This is definitely something that even the 9th grade mantis cannot do. The number of beetles in a camp alone is not something that any mantis can handle. Unless they have evolved to a high-level form. The legendary existence of a high-level form is even more impossible. But Hongying didn't look like she was joking. Are you sure? Of course, the heads of the 2 8th-grade beetles are ready to be dried, and mantises will be sent to the capital later. By the way, in fact, not only the beetle camp, but also the locust camp was destroyed. Hongying dropped another bombshell. The queen paused. I remember there are 2 camps of locusts on your border, right? Yes, there are 2, all of them have been destroyed, and the heads of 6 8th-grade locusts will soon be sent to the capital. Is it that mantis too? Yes. The queen took a breath. All the enemies on the border have been destroyed. 1 mantis. Do you really want to say that? The more she thought about it, the more she felt it was impossible. No matter how strong the 8th grade is, it can't be so outrageous. But Hongying was sure of it. At this time, the inner guard reported. Your Majesty, Hongying's camp has delivered the spoils. Hongying on the side was immediately happy. I didn't expect that these 6th grade commanders flew so hard, and they were only a little slower than us. It said it simply, but the group of 6th grade commanders who delivered the spoils were almost exhausted. It was really traveling day and night under the stars, and it was barely able to keep up with Hongying and Lu Qing's itinerary. The spoils have been delivered. The queen was stunned at first, then gave an order. Quick, bring them up. The inner guards dragged up 6 locust heads and beetle heads. It was not difficult to tell from the size of these heads that they were indeed of the 8th grade. After a careful inspection, the queen looked at Hongying in surprise. What it said was true. Was there really a mantis that accomplished this seemingly impossible thing alone? After a while, the queen suddenly asked, "Where is he?" "He's waiting outside. Quick, let him in. By the way, what's his name?" "Lu Qing." Lu Qing's eyes lit up. "Are you saying that there is a 9th grade energy core in the Queen's treasury?" "Yes, that is the glorious symbol of our Mantis clan. In a few years, I estimate that our Mantis clan will have 2 9th grade energy cores." "Oh, what do you mean?" The inner guard immediately responded. "Great Ancestor, the Great Ancestor is already old and can't last for a few years. Once the Great Ancestor dies, won't our Mantis clan have 2? The Mantis clan does not have a clear concept of superiority and inferiority. The awe of the strong is also inner respect. What should be said is what should be said. I am 8th grade, and absorbing the 9th grade energy core is a leapfrog. Why don't you give 4-digit experience points? It's really exciting to think about it." Just when Lu Qing was thinking about how to get the 9th grade energy core, he heard Hongying's voice transmission. "Lu Qing, the queen invites you." Lu Qing immediately greeted the team of internal guards and walked into the queen's palace. From a mantis's perspective, the queen looked pretty good, especially the pair of pink wings, which really had a cute and hot feel. However, Lu Qing, different, did not have the appreciation ability that a mantis should have. He was even a little face blind. His impression of the queen was that her wings were pretty. He was observing the queen, and the queen was also observing him. The first thing he saw when he came in was the 2 exaggerated blade feet. For mantises, the blade feet are weapons, and even more a symbol of strength. And the pair of red eyes. At first glance, the queen felt that the other party was gifted. Lu Qing. Yes, Lu Qing rubbed the blade feet. No need to salute. The queen was stunned. What a well-behaved mantis. The queen had a very good impression of Lu Qing. Among the outsiders, this was the first one to take the initiative to ask about etiquette. "No, we mantises will only salute when facing powerful warriors in advanced forms." After the queen finished speaking, she paused for a few breaths, and then pointed at the spoils with her blade. "I just heard Hongying say, that you killed all these alone?" After asking, it stared at Lu Qing closely. "Not really." Lu Qing glanced at Hongying. "When I was exterminating the locusts, Hongying wanted to help me contain one. Although it was useless, it also had a little credit. Mantises don't blush, otherwise Hongying would blush like an apple now. He really did it alone." Single quote. The queen couldn't sit still anymore. It stood up and circled around Lu Qing. This body is indeed of the 8th grade. But why is Lu Qing so powerful? He destroyed 3 camps by himself. Not to mention an 8th grade mantis, even 5 of them couldn't do it. But everything told it that the gifted mantis in front of it really did it. It's incredible. I've heard from Hongying that you are an outsider with a talent. We mantises treat everyone equally. You can develop in the insect grassland with peace of mind. Lu Qing was relieved. If you want, I can open another camp for you. Open a camp and be a general. Lu Qing flatly refused. No, I'm free and easy, I'm not a general. If the queen wants, you can assign me some high-risk tasks. I like adventure. By the way, I heard that the queen has an inner treasury. It's better to have some inner treasury rewards when arranging tasks. This turn caught the queen off guard, and her hips almost broke. Of course, the queen didn't take it to heart at all. The majestic queen naturally has a full internal treasury. It said nonchalantly, "Yes, our Mantis clan has always been tolerant, and we can arrange any position you want. As for rewards, as long as you have made meritorious service, you can choose whatever you want." Hey, Hongying, is there something wrong with your neck? Why are you swinging back and forth? Hongying, I am reminding you, my dear queen. Lu Qing's belly looked ordinary, but it was a real bottomless pit. My main camp warehouse is. Lu Qing was standing in front of it, so it naturally didn't dare to say anything. I'm tired from having to deal with so many things lately. The queen nodded her head. General Hongying is really hardworking. Lu Qing said, Hongying, have you completed what you reported? The queen should also have arranged a new camp mission for you, right? It's arranged. As soon as you have arranged it, hurry up and get busy. Give me and the queen some space. Hongying was filled with helplessness. Aren't you just afraid that I'll spill the beans? Come on, things here have been completed, and rewards and other rewards will be sent by a special team. There is indeed no need for it to stay. Then, Queen, I will take my leave now. The queen had not yet anticipated the seriousness of the matter. Hearing that Hongying was about to leave, she waved her sword easily. Okay, it would be good to reorganize the camp and head to the West River as soon as possible to join forces with the Lanchi camp to put pressure on the scarabs. Hongying took a deep look at the queen and said, Queen Ankang, am I healthy? I'm not used to being so polite all of a sudden. Hongying looked at Lu Qing. While she was still organizing her words, Lu Qing took the lead in transmitting the message. Hongying, we have known each other for a long time. If you have any trouble in the future, just come to me. I can help my friends. Of course, with good things, such as don't forget me about resources or anything like that. Hongying is such a good person who can stand up for her friends. If it weren't for the fact that my warehouse in Dayang was completely empty of high-quality products, I would really believe it. Hongying clamped her mouthparts tightly, definitely. After speaking, he turned and left. It's gone. Lu Qing started talking about business again. Queen, just tell me which place is the most dangerous. I can't wait to make great achievements. So urgent. Actually, you can take a walk around the capital and see the prosperity of my Mantis capital. Hairy and beautiful. What scene has I never seen before, and why would I go to your capital to see it? Prosperity means comfort, and I can't be comfortable at all. Let's talk about the mission. I like this character. Okay. The queen stood up and said, the most dangerous place for our Mantis clan is in the 9 Realms Holy Land. The 9 Domains Holy Land is the most central place in the entire insect grassland. The territories of the 9 insect tribes are all extensions of the 9 Domains Holy Land as the core. The 9 Realms Holy Land is very important. The territory can be reduced, but the Holy Land must not lose even an inch. It's filled with the top experts of each Zerg race competing against each other. Lu Qing interjected, full of expectation, how strong is he? Is he at the 9th level? The experience level for leapfrogging must be 4 digits anyway. With his current strength, he can completely leapfrog and kill him. Of course he wants to encounter the 9th grade. The queen shook her head. It's not like there are no 9th grade ones, but they are so old and so crippled. Lu Qing perked up. Well, I just like this kind of old and disabled one. Good to kill. Experience is high. What a holy place. This is simply the place in my dreams. Just when Lu Qing was about to ask further questions, a voice suddenly interrupted. Queen, why did you call me here? Turning around, I saw a mantis with 3-meter-long tentacles on its forehead slowly walking in. The body length of this mantis has exceeded 5 meters. It looks stiff in its steps. Coupled with its long antennae, it is clearly an old mantis. This should be the great ancestor, currently the only 9th grade member of the mantis clan. Sure enough, the queen stood up again and said, "Great ancestor. This old mantis is very pretentious." Even when facing the queen, he just taps his triangular head, and then still raises his head to look at the 45-degree roof, looking like a lonely master. Is this an outsider? That's not bad. He has 8th level strength. It noticed Lu Qing, raised its head proudly and continued, "We in the mantis tribe do not value strength, but contribution. Only those who have contributed can be reused. So pretentious. I have been in another world for so long, and this is the first time I have seen a mantis that can pretend so well." He is still a 9th grade old mantis. Lu Qing also imitated the other person's behavior, straightening his neck and raising his head. "Lao Dang, what contribution do you have?" It's so straightforward. He saw the other party's tentacles shaking violently. "You little guy, you are so rude. Do you want to test whether my blade is sharp?" The great ancestor raised his old sword foot with white spots. When it popped out, it not only moved slowly, but also made a clicking sound. This word is familiar. Without hesitation, Lu Qing spread out the 5-meter-long sword and landed directly on Lao Dang's neck. "I am not at a disadvantage either." The great ancestor trembled, as if he did not expect Lu Qing to use the knife as soon as he said so. It can't live for 2 years, so it doesn't dare to take action. Just now, it was relying on its 9th grade strength to scare and beat this outsider. Who would have thought that this was a ruthless mantis that would put it on his neck if he disagreed with her? Not to mention that it is old now. Even when it was in its prime, it would not dare to let go of such an exaggerated and huge sword foot. My heart gave in, but my head and neck remained very proud as before, looking unyielding. "Lao Dang's bones are quite strong. Okay, I'll help you. One swing of the knife will cut it off." The difference between dying of old age and being hacked to death is huge. The great ancestor was so frightened that he shouted loudly, "Don't make trouble. It's not that my bones are hard, it's that I have mantisidus in my upper body and I can't move. Queen, please say something. You don't really want to watch me being hacked to death by him, do you?" The queen on the side almost laughed out loud. Old Mantis, who has always liked to show off, is here today. With Lu Qing's almost perverted strength, if he really cuts you off, you won't have a chance to beg for mercy. The queen also knew that she could no longer sit back and watch the show. It immediately transmitted a message: what the great ancestor said is true. The mantis will suffer from this disease when it gets old and cannot move its upper body to a large extent. It is not deliberately pretending to be arrogant and unyielding. Lu Qing nodded and slowly retracted his sword. "Oh, that's it." As soon as he finished speaking, before Lao Dang could breathe a sigh of relief, the knife foot was placed on its neck again. But it was showing off just now. I hate other mantises showing off the most. The queen was stunned and couldn't hold back her laughter. The great ancestor was afraid again and again. "Don't use the knife, don't use the knife, stop pretending, stop pretending." Lu Qing then sheathed his sword. "That's right. If you are safe and sound, I will respect the elderly and care for the young. If you disrespect the elderly, then I can only dig out your energy core." So he is thinking about my energy core. The great ancestor complained in his heart, but did not dare to show it. The queen saw that Lao Dang was honest, so she introduced, "The great ancestor is in charge of the 9 regions Holy Land, and he handles the affairs of the Holy Land. This is Lu Qing, an 8th grade, but very powerful, far beyond his peers." The great ancestor straightened his neck. Strength is not something that can be found in the old mantis. As if it realized Lu Qing's unfriendly look, it hurriedly changed its words. "Hey, those should be the 8th grade beetle head and locust head over there. That's what Lu Qing hunted alone." Oh, the great ancestor couldn't help but look at Lu Qing again. Locusts are easier to deal with, but beetles are extremely offensive and defensive for mantises. It was difficult for it to deal with 8th grade beetles in its heyday. But this little guy with 8th grade strength in front of him can be so powerful. It looks like he is really strong. The queen summoned me here, isn't it because she wants to place Lu Qing in the 9 regions Holy Land? The queen nodded. "That's right. The competition for the 9 regions is getting more and more intense, and our elite warriors are gradually unable to keep up with the pace. If this continues, I'm afraid we will be squeezed out one day. Now that we have a powerful mantis like Lu Qing, it's just right to relieve the pressure. The Holy Land is the root of the insect race on the insect grassland. If the mantis is squeezed out of the Holy Land, the mantis will no longer have the unique resources of the Holy Land to replenish it, and will gradually become lonely. The great ancestor is in charge of the Holy Land, and naturally knows that the mantis race is at a disadvantage in the competition. It's okay for this old 9th rank to pretend to be awesome and intimidate, but if it really comes to action, even the 8th rank dare not say it can deal with it. The wound on the queen's body was caused by the golden-armored longhorn beetle a few months ago. Okay, then Lu Qing will go to the Holy Land with me. At this time, Lu Qing interrupted. It doesn't matter where you go. I am the knife of our mantis tribe. I will cut wherever you tell me to. However, even fleshworms need to be full to be valuable. I, Lu, a big man of 4.5 meters, can't go to the battlefield with an empty stomach, right? That makes sense. The queen is not stingy. We have 8th grade locust leg meat, or other insect meat. I will take you there and let you eat as much as you want. Lu Qing, do you think I'm really hungry? I am not naturally interested in meat. I usually eat energy cores. Don't worry, I eat very little. As he said this, he used the foot of the knife to slightly stick 1 centimeter, indicating that he ate less. The queen didn't take it to heart. Isn't it just an energy core? Yes. There are plenty. That's easy. Okay, you should be rewarded for your contribution. How about this? I will reward you with an 8th grade energy core and 5 7th grade ones, how about it? Not so good. These things together are not enough for 4-digit experience points. I'm working for you Mantis tribe, and you're just trying to fool me with this little stuff. Lu Qing immediately shook his sword foot. Too much, too much. I can't finish it. Queen, you are so generous, the reward is so generous. It really makes me panic. In fact, Lu has a small appetite. It's a complete waste for you to give me so much. It's better to let me go to the inner storehouse and eat something casually. The queen didn't know that Lu Qing's nickname was Bottomless Pit. She admired him more and more. Look, he didn't even want the reward, but just asked to go to the inner storehouse to eat something casually. How big can a mantis appetite be? An 8th grade mantis, absorbing a 5th grade energy core in one day is amazing. It's really not greedy. There are too few mantises with such noble character. Since you insist on doing so, then fine, you can eat whatever you want in the inner storehouse, and you will be fine if you eat for 3 to 5 days. When you come out, you can also bring an 8th grade energy core. Lu Qing was very humble. No need to bring it, the queen can let me eat enough. Seeing Lu Qing so noble, the queen couldn't say anything else. It's up to you, but you'd better not touch the 9th grade energy core. It's not that I'm stingy, but I'm afraid that you can't absorb the 9th grade energy. It will be very dangerous for an 8th grade energy core to touch a 9th grade energy core. Lu Qing thought to himself, that's dangerous for you, but for me, I can still absorb it. Thinking in his heart, he expressed, the queen cares about me so much, it really makes me panic again. Don't worry, I will never put myself in danger. No lie, nor did he say that he would not eat the 9th grade energy core. Perfect. The queen thought that Lu Qing promised not to touch the 9th grade energy core. Okay, then let the great ancestor take you there. My injuries have not healed yet, and it's not easy to move. The great ancestor happily accepted the order. After Lu Qing went out, the queen also explained to the great ancestor. This Lu Qing has a noble character, he will definitely not bring out the 8th grade one. When the time comes, you can take out 2 from the inner storehouse and give them to him. 2 8th grade ones. The great ancestor secretly praised the queen's generosity. Lu Qing, you don't have to be so reserved. It's such a good opportunity to be rewarded. It's understandable that you are a little greedy. The great ancestor walked to one side, raised his head, and looked like he was teaching a younger generation. Lu Qing listened to it. What the great ancestor said is right, then I will be a little greedy. After saying that, he used the knife foot to block a few centimeters again. Just a little bit. The great ancestor nodded slightly. His posture was still so arrogant. That's right, the 9 regions Holy Land is full of dangers, we are going there to risk our lives, it's normal to be a little greedy. Yes, yes, yes. Lu Qing nodded like pounding garlic. I'll listen to you, great ancestor. Look, it's just ahead. Great ancestor slowed down his pace. Eat as much as you can after entering. Eat as much as you can, the queen won't be stingy. Yes, yes, yes. Lu Qing nodded again and again. I'll listen to you, great ancestor. As the inner storehouse, there is a team of mantises guarding it. This group of mantises is about 3 meters in size, and their strength should be around the 6th rank. Great ancestor, as the living signboard of the Mantis clan, who cannot recognize him. The group of guards greeted him. The great ancestor stepped aside to let Lu Qing pass, and then said to the guards, "This is a meritorious official of our Mantis clan, and the queen rewards him to enter the inner storehouse once." The words of the living signboard are naturally useful. They stepped aside one after another to let Lu Qing in. Lu Qing was not polite and directly pushed open the grass door. Just as he was about to go in, the great ancestor added another sentence. "The queen said you can eat for 3 to 5 days, but the Holy Land is still tight, so you can reduce it a little bit, 1 day, 1 day. 1 day, I'll give you the door. No, I'll be out quickly before sunset. It's only 2 hours away from sunset." The great ancestor shouted, "Be particular." Lu Qing went in and closed the door. The inner storehouse is very large. There are also many kinds of good things. There are all kinds of specimens of insects and strange beasts after drying, almost all the races that Lu Qing has seen are here. There are also some dried flowers and plants. These flowers and plants should have certain medicinal functions. Some strange stones are also novel. However, Lu Qing is not interested in these. His only target is those energy cores. The energy cores in the inner library are also divided into piles. There are no low-grade products here, and the lowest starting point is 5th grade. There are a lot of 5th grade energy cores, occupying almost 1/3 of the entire huge warehouse. It is estimated that the number can reach 5 figures, or even 6 figures. If he had entered here when he was at level 5, Lu Qing would have lived a beautiful life. As expected of a queen, this resource base is truly abundant. There are also many 6th grade ones. At least 10,000 pieces. Thousands of coins. If you spend them all, that's 20,000 experience points. There are nearly 100 of 7th grade coins, each with 40 to 50 experience points. These 100 coins are also worth 4 or 5,000. 8th grade. 8th grade 5 pieces. One is about 500 points, which is more than 2,000 points. 9th grade. Just like those inner guards said, there is only one 9th grade one. As for how much experience it can provide, you won't know until you finish it. Let's get started. Lu Qing, who had no psychological pressure, was the first to run towards the 9th grade energy core. After throwing the importer, the system absorbs the energy and the prompt sounds simultaneously. Get flesh and blood value plus 1,500 feet. The higher the level, the more you can get 1,005. The needle doesn't poke. It's a pity that there is only one. Next is the energy core of the 8th grade. After 5 coins were swiped, another 2,000 experience points were obtained. Lu Qing started the binge-watching mode. The great ancestor did not leave. If Lu Qing wants to eat for a day, it will leave. But just now Lu Qing promised that it would only take until sunset. It can still afford the time. The great ancestor listened specially. Very quiet. Lu Qing didn't make any noise. This kid has such a good character. He is worth cultivating. After muttering to himself, it found a place with grass balls and sat down, waiting quietly. Energy cores were thrown into the importer one after another, and the energy contained in them was absorbed by the system in an instant. Lu Qing moved quickly, and the hill-like 6th grade energy cores were gradually reduced. Get flesh value plus 2 feet. Get flesh and blood value plus 1.7 feet. Finally, after more than 2 hours of struggle, the hill had been wiped out. After the sword was empty, Lu Qing also breathed a sigh of relief. The continuous mechanical movement made him feel tired. Fortunately, he has now killed Queen Niku. Bottom up. It's a bit tiring, but it's rewarding. Because the experience tank is already full, it is impossible to check how much there is. I estimate that I got about 30,000 experience points this time. Coupled with the last brush, I conservatively estimate that I already have more than 40,000 experience reserves. As for the amount of experience required to advance to the advanced form after the 9th level, Lu Qing guessed that it was 30,000 to 50,000, but he could only guess. What if the required experience exceeds 50,000? It wasn't enough for him to wipe out everything in the insect grassland, so Lu Qing set a small goal for himself. First brush 10,000. 100,000 is definitely enough. Now that the queen's inner treasure was ruined by him, Lu Qing, who was in a happy mood, swayed, lazily pushed the grass door open, and walked out gracefully. Grand Ancestor needs to move from time to time, otherwise the pain all over his body will be unbearable. There is no other way for the old mantis to move more. Just as it was walking, the grass door was pushed open, and Lu Qing walked out gracefully. The great patriarch felt more and more appreciative in his heart. It's true that he keeps his word. When he says the sun sets, he will set it. These days, there are too few mantises with integrity like Lu Qing. Good. After Lu Qing finished brushing, he began to speak the truth in a low-key manner. Don't praise me. In fact, I'm just like that, very vulgar. Humility, humility. The great ancestor shook his upper body. I recall that when I was young, I was also an honest and humble mantis. Soon, it discovered that Lu Qing came out with his sword and foot empty. I appreciate it even more now. Facing such an alluring energy core, Lu Qing actually came out with his sword empty. Noble, so noble. What an exemplary mantis. Can't treat him badly. Lu Qing, it's a reward from the queen. If you don't want it, it's for nothing. You have to let it go. Can you let go? I've been very liberal. If all the items above level 6 in the inner library have been wiped out, how can we let go? Is it possible to get rid of the useless 5th grade items? The great ancestor shook his stiff triangular head and said, it's not enough, it's not enough. Hey, you are just too kind. If this isn't enough, do we want to exhaust the queen's inner treasury to the last bit, leaving the queen completely empty? Yeah. Lu Qing strongly agreed. You are just too kind. After all, nothing else was moved. The great ancestor continued to persuade, go ahead and bring out another 8th grade energy core. Don't worry about anything else. Our queen mantis is very impressive. It's good that the queen is generous. However, since they have all been brushed away, there is naturally no need to get them. After all, he is kind. No need to take it, I'm very satisfied now. But the great ancestor shook his triangular head and said, take one, I can't treat you badly. Lu Qing, there's really no need. It's okay to treat me badly. Seeing that he really didn't want to get it, the great ancestor decided to get one for him personally. Just wait for me and I'll get it for you. Hey, you're just too shy. Yes, I am very shy. No need. However, the great ancestor had already walked in. I originally wanted to get an 8th grade one for Lu Qing, but when I saw it, I was dumbfounded. Single quote. There are a lot of things in the inner storehouse. The energy core is only a part of it. Some of the things are as valuable as the energy core. However, there is not a single energy core of the 6th grade or above left. The great ancestor even suspected that his eyes were blurry. It walked forward. The 6th grade, gone. The 7th grade, gone. The 8th grade, still gone. Clean and tidy. The great ancestor suddenly thought of the 9th grade energy core. It hurriedly turned around and looked over. The place where the 9th grade energy core was stored before was also empty. The 9th grade, gone. What happened? Why did the 9th grade disappear? The energy contained in the energy core can only be absorbed by the same grade, that is to say, this 9th grade energy core should be the only one in the whole family who has the qualifications and strength to absorb it. Once the lower grade is absorbed, there will be a risk of direct explosion. But, it was gone. The great ancestor ran outside. He looked at Lu Qing deeply, and then called the inner guards to ask. The inner guards said, the energy core of the queen's inner storehouse is full, and the 9th grade is always there. You go in and take a look. The inner guards went in. Soon, they were all dumbfounded. What's going on? The energy core is obviously full, with 8 and 9 grades, why is it now? Listening to the panicked voice transmission of the inner guards, the great ancestor looked at Lu Qing again. Obviously, all this must have been caused by Lu Qing. As for how he did it, why even the 9th grade energy core disappeared. The mantis can't hide anything. Could it be that he absorbed it all? Absorb all. The great ancestor felt that this idea was ridiculous. No mantis could absorb high-quality energy cores, no one could. But the question came back again. Where did the 9th grade energy core go? Where did so many 8th grade, 7th grade, and 6th grade ones go? The great ancestor decided to ask first. That, Lu Qing, did you see the energy core when you went in? Lu Qing was straightforward. I saw it, I ate it all. The great ancestor was stunned when he heard it. Ate it all. Low grade can't absorb high grade. This is common sense. That's you, I can absorb it, even higher, it's okay, otherwise why do you think my sword foot has grown so big? The great ancestor was speechless for a moment. Yes, he must have eaten it all. The key is that there are so many energy cores, why is he fine? Is he really gifted? Suddenly, the great ancestor remembered the previous conversation with Lu Qing. He foolishly persuaded the other party to take more. No wonder the other party was unmoved. They had eaten everything. Is there any need to move? Also, he said he would only eat but not take anything, and he didn't want any reward. The queen still felt that he was of noble character. Noble eyes. This is clearly a trap for all of us. Dazu, why are you silent? It came back to its senses. I was in no mood to talk. I was in a bad mood. But Lu Qing saw it. It's not yours to eat, why are you so upset? It thought about it. That's right. This is the inner treasury, the queen's inner treasury. It's not mine, why should I be upset? Dazu felt better instantly. Ha ha ha, that's right, I'm not upset. If anyone is upset, it should be the queen. I'm going to report, do you want to go with me? Lu Qing refused. No, no. The queen was really upset. At that time, she refused the reward and just wanted to go to the inner treasury to eat a little. She thought the other party was honest and noble. Unexpectedly, isn't this Chun being played with? It was only slightly distressed that the other energy cores were eaten. That 9th grade one is the only 9th grade one in the Mantis clan at present. That can only be enjoyed after being promoted to the 9th grade queen, but it was. The great ancestor was calm and said, Queen, don't be angry. I think this is a good thing. You are not angry. Is this a good thing? My grandmother's energy core was eaten. Although Lu Qing ate the treasury, he will also help our Mantis clan. Especially his strong strength, maybe he can change the pattern of the 9 realms holy land. If it can change the pattern of the 9 realms holy land, then your treasury is worth the money. After all, the holy land represents resources. Good advice. It's not yours anyway. The queen was not really angry. After all, she promised all this herself. But she was really distressed. After a long time, the queen finally said something. Go, hurry to the holy land, don't delay for a moment. Watching the great ancestor leave, the queen slipped and almost fell. This also pulled the wound on her abdomen, making her gasp in pain. My great ancestor's energy core is gone, it's even more miserable than its death. The Holy Land is not far from the capital, it can even be described as very close. At Lu Qing's speed, it can be reached in an hour. It's just that the great ancestor is really old, and he doubled the time required for the journey. During this period, Lu Qing also asked some questions about the Holy Land. It is rumored that the core of the 9 regions Holy Land hides a huge secret. Once the secret is cracked, you can get endless resources and let the tribe dominate the grassland. The great ancestor told the story vividly, and from time to time he interspersed his heroic deeds when he was young, but Lu Qing was not interested. What endless resources, what dominating the grassland? It's all old stories. Can the story be believed? He didn't believe it anyway. It's in front. Lu Qing looked over. The so-called 9 domains Holy Land is a huge rocky mountain. It turns out that the core of the insect-singing grassland is a piece of rocky. Don't look at this place as ordinary, there are a lot of resources inside. Resources. Lu Qing was immediately refreshed. What resources? Strange flowers, plants and trees. Lu Qing was speechless for a moment. Is it good for mantises to eat meat? There are also many flesh worms that have no attack power. These flesh worms feed on exotic flowers and plants all year round, contain tremendous energy, and can be more easily absorbed by our insect race. They are good food given by God. Flesh worms. This is familiar. Lu Qing couldn't help but think of the happy days when he and Da Zhuang stole ants to raise flesh worms. What is the strength of flesh worms? Lu Qing is very concerned about this. 5th grade. Some big ones can be equivalent to 6th grade, but they have no attack power, and the quantity is very large, so you can eat them at will. Flesh worms cannot grow energy cores. If you want to brush 6th grade, you have to eat them bite by bite. You can imagine. After eating for a long time, the result is only 1.5 experience points. Faced with a gap of tens of thousands, wouldn't you be exhausted? Although the meat worms are good, they are not suitable for me. So Lu Qing asked what he wanted to know most. Is the 9 realms Holy Land all the 9 Zerg elites from the insect grassland inside? Yes, this is the key place to fight for. Of course, the elites are all inside. Moreover, these strange rocks will change every day, and the paths will also change. If you are unlucky, a large piece of rock may move, and then you will encounter other Zerg tribes around the corner and appear. A fight to the death. Lu Qing asked straightforwardly. Do other Zerg races also have old and disabled 9th grades like you? Forgive me for being so straightforward. The 2 tentacles of the great ancestor were raised. You are so old and disabled. I think back on those days when I used my 2 swords to kill from east to south, from west to north without blinking an eye. The other Zerg I killed ran away when they saw me. Seeing that it was about to brag again, Lu Qing interrupted directly. We mantises can't blink in the first place. Ah, the great ancestor was stunned for a moment, and straightened his neck even more vigorously. Am I talking about the eyes? The aura, the majestic aura of the 2 big swords. Lu Qing inadvertently showed his 5-meter sword. Is yours really that big? The great ancestor immediately became honest. Whether you are older or not depends on who you compare with you. There are also 9th level ones. Only 3 races have 9th level ones in their prime. It's good to have it. The great ancestor continued. Okay, we're here. We need to fall down and enter through the gap between the rocks, otherwise we may be swept away by the whirlwind above. In the air above the rocks is a tornado. This is not a tornado in the conventional sense, but is formed by a special terrain that persists all year round. Once a creature attempts to fly over, it will be sucked in. After landing outside the rocks, great ancestor entered from the cave with ease. There are not many changes in the periphery. Generally, the rocks in the core area will move. Today I will take you to familiarize yourself with the terrain. After entering, there is light coming through the top seam. The passage has been repaired and is flat. Chapter 71. There are indeed a lot of forks, and it looks a bit like an anthill. The outside is complicated, but you can remember it after familiarizing yourself with it a few times. I think back to that year, when I first came. Seeing that the great ancestor was about to brag about his past events again, Lu Qing's second in command picked up a stone and hit it on the opponent's head, directly interrupting him physically. Sure enough, the great ancestor hugged the triangular head with his sword feet, and opened and closed his mouth in pain. Hiss. It must be a stone rolled down by a tornado. Lu Qing. Yes, be careful. The great ancestor continued to move forward. I didn't expect you to care about an old guy like me. It should. As he spoke, he had already walked out of the passage, and his eyes suddenly became clear. At the end of the passage is actually a huge space. All kinds of exotic flowers, plants and trees grow in this space. Some fat insects with little attack power crawled among them. A group of praying mantises were sitting on the rocks, taking care of them. This is one of the resource areas of our Mantis clan. This small area allows our Mantis clan to cultivate 3-digit 6th grade people every year. 1, indicating that there are many places like this. The caretakers greeted the great ancestor one after another. As the only 9th grade old guy in the Mantis tribe, he still has some respect. Dazu straightened his neck and responded several times. Resource land is the most important existence in the 9 realms Holy Land. The amount of resource land will affect the development of the strength of our Zerg race. It walked through the space while introducing it. After choosing a passage, continue forward. Along the way, we saw a dozen similar spaces before arriving at the base camp. The base camp of the Mantis tribe is very wide, similar to a huge cave, except that there are gaps on the top, allowing light to shine in. The several passages in front lead to the core area. The stone walls in the core area will change, and there will be unknown dangers every time they change. Therefore, you need to be very cautious when entering the core area. Generally, you can enter only one day in 8 days. And this is where our elites gather. The great ancestor opened his sword and looked like he was letting Lu Qing see the world. Lu Qing has indeed seen the world. There are probably thousands of these praying mantises staying in the caves. 1/5 of the thousands of them are disabled mantises that lack blades, feet and legs. Looking at the strength, the lowest ones are all 5th grade mantis, which is also the main force. The 6th and 7th grades decrease in sequence. The lowest one is the 8th grade, with only 7. Lu Qing looked at it for a few times and then lost interest. Let's stop fussing and just talk about how to start a war with other Zerg. The great ancestor still kept his swords open. After hearing Lu Qing's impatient message, he retracted his stiff sword legs. No, you're not familiar with the terrain. It's easy to break into other Zerg territory. Lu Qing responded without hesitation, can't you get familiar with it while killing? It will save trouble. Killing and getting familiar at the same time. What kind of trick is this? See you soon. Ordinary mantises need to be given some color to see how tall they are. But Lu Qing is not ordinary, he has experienced it himself. The great ancestor was stunned for a while and then said, "Okay, I will do as you say." He turned around and looked at a group of praying mantises. Bai Wei, come here. Bai Wei, an 8th level general, is at the top of the list among the 7 generals. Especially the pair of sword feet, which are gray and white in color, and their power when wielded is stronger than other 8th grade swords. If anyone in the Mantis tribe has the slightest chance to advance to the 9th level, it would be it except the queen. It is precisely because of this that Bai Wei has a rather proud character. That is to say, the one who calls it as the great ancestor. If it were any other mantis, Bai Wei would be considered a loser at a glance. It flapped its wings lightly and flew over. Great ancestor, why are you calling me? When the voice was transmitted, the neck and head were exactly the same as those of the great ancestor. The difference was that the great ancestor was sick, but it was really proud. This is just Lu Qing, the new outsider. Before it could finish speaking, it was interrupted by Bai Wei. I don't want to lead the newly joined mantises to find their way. Great ancestor, you should find other mantises. Know the way. Not so simple. The great ancestor said calmly, it's not just about finding the way. Lu Qing really couldn't stand Lao Deng's ink marks, so he directly said to Bai Wei, what way do you know? Kill the beetle's nest directly. In an instant, the entire cave fell silent. Almost all the mantis eyes turned around. No, who is this? Are you going to kill the beetle nest when you come up? What a hatred. Bai Wei couldn't even react. It thought it was the great ancestor who asked him to lead the new mantis to find its way. I didn't expect that this new mantis would directly attack the beetle's nest. Go crazy. The beetle lair is inhabited by a beetle king. Moreover, there was a conflict just a few months ago, and the queen was injured by the beetle king. When you come out, you look for the beetle's nest. Do you think you are more awesome than me, Bai Wei? It looked Lu Qing up and down. The most conspicuous thing is the pair of knife feet. It thought its own blade was big enough, but after seeing Lu Qing's blade, it realized that its own was simply a pocket version. However, what's the use of having a big sword and foot? What mantis pays attention to his fighting skills? It snorted disdainfully inwardly. Entering the beetle nest is like going to die. You, an outsider, probably don't know how powerful and terrifying beetles are. As strong as I am, Bai Wei, it is extremely difficult to break through the defense when facing beetles. Who do you think you are? Do you want me to accompany you to die? Bai Hui's tone was extremely disdainful, and at the same time he raised his head to show his arrogance. The ancestor knew that there was something interesting to watch when he heard it. During this day, it has learned a little about Lu Qing. It's okay to talk and communicate a little too much. But you must not pretend to be cool, otherwise Lu Qing will be unhappy. If he is unhappy, the consequences will be very serious. Don't you see, the last time Lu Qing's knife fell on my neck, it almost cured my old mantis disease. Bai Wei is too arrogant, he just needs to be punished, and it's just right for Lu Qing to punish him. As for the comparison of their strength, the 9th grade energy core is eaten by meatworms, how can the strength be bad? The ancestor guessed correctly. Lu Qing was indeed unhappy. The mantis that was showing off in front of me last time now has clear eyes. When he got upset, his blade feet opened instantly and rushed straight to the opponent's head. Bai Wei was a veteran, and when Lu Qing made a move, he was already thinking about guarding against it. But he really didn't expect that Lu Qing was so fast. Before he could move, the opponent's big blade foot had already passed a shadow on his head. Bai Wei just felt a gust of wind blowing into his mouth. When he came to his senses, Lu Qing's big blade foot had already inserted under his feet. Bang! Half of the big tooth of the mouthparts fell to the ground. Come on, repeat what you just said. Bai Wei was frightened and his eyes became clear. Lu Qing's speed was so fast that it didn't even have time to react before half of its teeth were chopped off. You know, as a mouthpart for eating, the hardness of big teeth is not worse than that of knives and feet. But it was still cut down in an instant, which shows that the sharpness, strength, speed, etc. of Lu Qing's sword have reached a level that far exceeds the 8th level. Looking at the sword foot so close at hand, his gray belly trembled. Just now, what did I say? It didn't mean to pretend, but it was frightened by this and was so frightened that it forgot about it. The great ancestor on the side gave him a hint calmly. Let me recall it for you. You are as strong as me, Bai Wei, and it is extremely difficult to break through the defense when facing beetles. Who do you think you are? You want me to accompany you to die. The natural advantage of raising the head makes it a perfect imitation. Bai Hui's heart was gray. I said that. I just said it wrong. Lu Qing's sword foot was drawn out from the ground. Wrong. Pick up the tooth. Bai Wei was stunned. Huh. I asked you to pick up your teeth. It quickly picked up its big teeth with its knife feet. I'm keeping this thing to remind you. This time it was a tooth that was lost, but next time it may be your head. Bai Wei nodded hurriedly, no longer as unruly as before. I understand. Judging from the decisiveness of Lu Qing's sword attack just now, it has no doubt about the result next time. The great ancestor on the side laughed secretly. Pretending to be arrogant and pretending to be like this is really laughable. The mantises not far away also looked at Lu Qing blankly. How proud and powerful Bai Wei is. But he became obedient in an instant. What is the origin of this new mantis? After Bai Wei became honest, Lu Qing asked again, now I want you to take me to the beetle's lair. Do you have any other opinions? Bai Wei shook his head first, and then sent a message. We can't go. The beetle king is very powerful, and there are 8 beetle generals. If we really go, I'm afraid we will never come back. Why don't you change a place and I'll take you to get familiar with it? Change place. What we are looking for is the beetle nest. That's all experience. Of course Lu Qing would not change his mind. The blade struck the ground, and the gravel was immediately cut in half. I'm not negotiating terms with you, but threatening you. Do you understand the threat? Bai Wei, it's all so straightforward, what else do I still don't understand? No time can threats be made so loudly. My proud little grump. Bai Wei drooped his head. Don't go, it is really afraid that Lu Qing will chop it. Go ahead, beetles are so powerful, aren't they just going to die? How to choose? Lu Qing didn't give it time at all, and raised his sword foot. It's okay, I'll change it. There are so many praying mantises here, you can spot them just by looking for one. The so-called replacement means, how could Bai Wei not understand? It nodded immediately. Go, isn't it okay if I go? Lu Qing then sheathed the sword and said, you should have told me earlier, I'm actually very easy to talk to. Bai Wei, if I hadn't lost half of my big tooth, I would have believed the special code. The great ancestor on the side finished eating the melon, and then he happily transmitted the message. Look, isn't this settled? Our mantis tribe is still very harmonious and friendly. So friendly. Bai Wei drooped his head, but in his heart he was cursing the great ancestor for not being particular. The newcomer you brought here is so fierce, but you didn't warn me at all, and you just watched the show. What about friendship and harmony now? Lu Qing was still very eager to gain experience. Let's go. Bai Wei reluctantly led Lu Qing to the passage, looking back at a certain female mantis every step of the way. As soon as they left, the group of praying mantises surrounded them. Grand Ancestor, what is the origin of this new one? It looks so fierce. The great ancestor chuckled and said, outsiders, nothing special, please disperse. Bai Wei is at the top of the Mantis clan's combat prowess, but his teeth were cut off with a knife. Isn't he still nothing special? After the great ancestor casually dealt with it for a few words, he immediately dispersed the praying mantises. Along the way, Lu Qing kept urging it, and it was already exhausted. After resting, I found a place with soft grass to lie down and began to sleep. Congratulations, Your Majesty, congratulations, Your Majesty, for being promoted to the 9th rank. A group of beetles surrounded a 7-meter large beetle. This is the Beetle King. The Beetle King is the strongest being among the Beetle clan. A few months ago, it personally defeated the Mantis Queen in the battle and obtained a large amount of resources. With the nourishment of resources, the Beetle King, who was already at the peak of the 8th level, once again made a breakthrough and reached the 9th level. The Beetle King became the only 9th grade king of the Beetle clan. The entire Beetle tribe fell into a carnival. 9th grade. The overall strength of their beetles has always been very strong, but unfortunately they do not have the 9th grade to take the lead, and they have not made any achievements in the battle with the races that have the 9th grade. But starting from today it will be different. They beetles also have 9th grade. It can be said that he has become one of the top forces in the 9 realms Holy Land. Ha ha ha. Guys, today I have successfully reached the 9th rank. From now on, our beetles will be able to dominate the world and truly compete for superior resources. The other beetles cheered. The Beetle King looked at the guys and was immediately very proud that his life had reached its peak. 9th rank. Finally reached it. From now on, I will lead the beetles to the peak of our tribe. Mantis Queen, you got away with it last time. But if I meet you again, I will definitely try to see if you are different from ordinary mantises. Eat meat for 3 days. Then attack the mantises and make our beetle tribe famous in the Holy Land. The beetles cheered again. King, King, King. The news that the Beetle King reached the 9th rank spread wildly among the beetle tribe. Every beetle who heard the news cheered. Just today, a team of intelligence agents caught a low-rank beetle. With almost no interrogation, this low-rank beetle expressed it passionately. Kill me. Our king has been promoted to the 9th rank, and you mantises will be buried with me. This is big news. After killing the beetle, the team hurried back to the nest to report the situation. Grandmaster, Grandmaster, don't sleep, something big has happened. After waking up, the Grandmaster was in a bad mood. What the hell are you yelling about? I'm not dead yet. Mantises are very straightforward. If you really die, we will laugh, and our tribe will fill another 9th rank energy core. The Grandmaster was almost angry. Hurry up, tell me what's going on. The mantis hurriedly reported, we got the news that the Beetle King, has been promoted to the 9th rank. The great ancestor suddenly woke up. What? How did you get the news? We caught a 5th grade beetle, and it revealed it personally. The Beetle King reaching the 9th level is definitely a big deal for the Mantis clan. After all, whether they are in the clan realm or in the Holy Land, they are always close to the Sheng Beetle clan. Once the Beetle clan takes the lead in the emergence of grade 9, the Mantis clan will definitely suppress and occupy them. Originally, the beetles had a natural racial advantage, but now that the Beetle King has been promoted to the 9th level, it is even more difficult for them, the mantises, to deal with them. The great ancestor suddenly thought of Lu Qing and Bai Wei. They are heading to the home of the beetles. I can only say that I am really unlucky. Not having a 9th grade and having a 9th grade are absolutely two different things. Without the 9th grade, with Lu Qing's strength, even if he was defeated, he would have no problem escaping back. But the Beetle King has been promoted to the 9th level, and if Lu Qing and the others are not careful, they may reveal where he is. Lu Qing is a very powerful mantis, and he and the queen value him the most. They must not die before leaving the battlefield. Hurry, go and find Lu Qing and Wei Bai. Hurry, if they really enter the beetle lair, they will be in danger. Under the leadership of the great ancestor, 2 7th grade mantises followed him to search for him. After passing through this passage, there is a resource area occupied by beetles in front of you. There is an 8th grade creature there. Bai Wei turned around to look while transmitting the message. Hey, where is Lu Qing? Aren't you following me? At this moment, Lu Qing walked over from in front of it. I asked you to crawl faster. Bai Wei anxiously placed his blade across the broken tooth. Keep your voice low, there is a beetle resource point ahead, there is. 8th grade, I know. Lu Qing casually dropped a beetle head. Bai Hui's mind was a little hard to turn around. I just said there was an 8th grade beetle in front of me, and you just threw out the head of an 8th grade beetle. No, I haven't even finished my sentence yet. Or you already instantly killed. Go faster, don't dawdle. Under Lu Qing's urging, it finally came to its senses, then passed through the passage and came to the resource area. When he saw the scene in the resource area, the mantis was stunned. Not only the 8th grade one sitting there, but there was not a single living beetle in the entire resource area. No, when did you use the knife? Soon it discovered another fact that surprised it. All the energy cores above level 6 have been dug. While I was still informing you of the danger, you destroyed them all and dug up all the energy cores. Lu Qing still didn't give it time to think. Hurry up, lead the way. Bai Wei nodded dully. Brother, how urgent are you? They move on. Every time he passed a resource area, Lu Qing killed everyone. Bai Wei was completely dumbfounded. We are both at the 8th level, do you want to be so perverted? How difficult is it to capture a resource area? Even dozens of dead elite mantises might not be able to take it down. You can do it right and brush it quickly. If you bring the mantis army here, you can capture it directly. Even the 9th grade can't do this. Don't be too exaggerated. After all, something slipped through the net. As soon as Lu Qing and the others walked away, a 5th grade beetle turned over and flew to another passage. The Beetle King is having fun. Such excellent genes must of course be spread to females so that they can produce more beetles with 9th grade potential. While he was busy, a 5th grade beetle flew in. Big king, invasion. Invasion is a big deal. I want to see what kind of race is so blind. The Beetle King's short legs kick the female away. What race invaded? Mantis. The Beetle King suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha, I was planning to find trouble with the praying mantises, but unexpectedly they came to my door. Okay. It seems like today is the day when I, the Beetle King, will become famous. Let's go. Watch me face the enemy. The Beetle King swung its huge body and flew over the strange rocks and landed on the boulder in the center of the lair. Little ones, a mantis has invaded my beetle resource area. Now it's time to let them try my power. Tonight, let's eat the mantis queen's feast. The beetles were immediately excited. The king is mighty. The king is mighty. When the Beetle King was about to call his little brother to watch the show, 2 mantises appeared at the end of the passage. Coming so soon. That's fine. The Beetle King took a look and said, why are there only 2 8th grade ones? His enthusiasm waned. Not enough to kill. When I was at the 8th level, it was a piece of cake to torture an 8th level mantis. Now that I have been promoted to the 9th level, it is not easy to deal with an 8th level mantis. After Bai Wei saw the huge body of the Beetle King, he realized something was wrong and it was shaking non-stop. It's over. The 8th grade Beetle King has been promoted to 9th grade. He is really going to die now. Run, if it's too late we won't even have a chance to run. Bai Wei was already ready to escape when he transmitted the message. But Lu Qing next to him remained unmoved. Run, why run? 9th grade, that's 9th grade. Bai Wei was completely panicked, fluttering his wings and about to take off. But he was kicked down by Deputy Lu Qing. Master Lu, if you want to die, don't get involved with me. I haven't carried on the family line yet. During this delay, the doorway was sealed by a swarm of beetles. A gray heart is as gray as death. It's over. Now I can't even run away. It's over. It's dead. Ha ha ha. The Beetle King looked down at the 2 praying mantises from the boulder. Do the 2 little praying mantises know where this place is? Lu Qing responded calmly. I know, it's the beetle's lair. Then do you know who I am? Lu Qing answered again. Who are you? Beetle, could it be that you are the son of the mantis next to me? Bai Wei, this can all involve me. Are you afraid that King Beetle will not bear his grudge against me? The Beetle King immediately became angry. I'm already at the 9th level, at the peak of my strength in the 9 realms holy land, and you still dare to insult me. 2 humble and reckless mantises, you succeeded in irritating me. You will be the first mantis to be torn into pieces by me after my 9th rank. You should feel honored. What's going on? You want me to feel honored when you tear me apart? Lu Qing's sword foot popped out instantly. You will be the first 9th grade beetle to die at the feet of my sword. You should feel honored. Seeing that the mere mantis actually had the courage to show his sword at him, and even repeated his words to sarcastically, the Beetle King suddenly laughed disdainfully. We, the beetles, defeated you, the mantis. When I was at the 8th level, your queen was defeated. Now that I am at the 9th level, you still dare to show your sword and foot at me. Just mantis, are you really not aware of the current situation? With my defense and strength, it's as easy to deal with you as it is to deal with a flesh insect. The Beetle King, who was getting more and more enthusiastic as he spoke, retracted his armor wings and entered a defensive state. The voice was extremely confident. Come on, I'll give you 3 blows first. Lu Qing. I don't know what happened, but when it came up it asked me to give it 3 blows. This is the first time in my life that I have encountered such a strange request. Of course you have to satisfy it. Fighting scarabs. Bai Wei had already foreseen the outcome. What is a beetle? Among the 9 races, the Zerg race is the most adept at defense. 8th grade to 8th grade, its sword foot and curling blade may not break the defense. Now that the Beetle King has advanced to the 9th level, they, the mantises, have absolutely no chance. Not to mention 3 swords, even 300 swords, it would be a waste of effort. After all, he is a mantis, and Bai Wei is still bloody. It took a big step and came to Lu Qing. They're all dead anyway. I'll stop the Beetle King, and you can deal with the smaller ones. You can deal with as many as you can. Even if you die, we won't lose. You're standing across from me and asking me to chop you 3 times, but you still want to fight me. But Bai Wei is indeed a bit bloody. Lu Qing still appreciates this. Come on, I'll bully you a little less in the future. Da Daozu slapped the opponent on the back and slapped him aside. Why are you showing off? I'm telling you, don't try to rob me of such a good thing. After Bai Wei was photographed aside, the whole mantis was confused. Should I fight with you? No, is that what I meant? I am sacrificing myself for justice. Why don't you understand? Only if you follow my arrangement and kill a few more beetles with your speed, we won't lose money. What I mean is that I will block the Beetle King for you. Lu Qing interrupted directly, use you. Bian Liang, go ahead. His broadsword instantly popped out. That beetle fool, get ready, I'm coming. The Beetle King proudly transmitted the message, I will give you 3 swords if I say I will give you 3 swords. Just a little mantis, be careful that your sword legs will collapse. It never paid attention to the mantis in front of it. 8th grade, so what about 9th grade? The beetles waiting to watch the excitement were also making noises. Our king can tire you to death just by standing still. Little mantis, I will wipe out all your mantis tribe tonight, and then I will have a taste of your queen. Hurry up and take action. After you've slashed our king 3 times, come back and slash me 3 more times. I'll kill you today. Just when they were making noise, they saw the figure of the mantis ripples like water. An almost uncaptured afterimage rushed towards the Beetle King quickly. After all, this was the 9th level, so Lu Qing directly activated his dual skills. Both skills are fully activated at an extremely fast speed, and all these beetles can see your afterimages. With extremely fast speed and a strong increase in strength, the 5-meter-long blade directly slashed at the back wing of the Beetle King. This sword can be said to be the pinnacle of Lu Qing's current strength. The blade drew a line of red light and hit the root of the wing accurately with ferocious force. If there is one part of a beetle that is the hardest, then the wing root connecting the beetle's wings is undoubtedly one of them. And what Lu Qing was cutting was the hardest part. There was a clang. It was like the sound of metal colliding, followed by the sound of metal rubbing against each other. The Beetle King's strength has reached the 9th level, but he still has the problem of the beetle's slow reaction. Or even it just felt a gust of wind blowing past, and then it felt like its body was hit by something. Because Lu Qing's sword foot was too fast, it did not feel the strong impact force. By the time the Beetle King saw clearly, Lu Qing had slowly fallen back to the ground. It's not difficult to guess this kind of scene. This mantis must have stabbed itself just now. Single quote. The Beetle King immediately burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, was it a blow? I didn't feel it at all. Dwang. The Beetle King suddenly felt as if he was much lighter. Turning around to look, he saw his heavy back wings falling to the ground. Why did the back wings fall off? Could it be? The Beetle King was horrified. Impossible. At the 8th level, the strongest queen of the Mantis tribe could not hurt herself at all. Now that I am in the 9th level, one of my back wings was chopped off by another mantis. This is impossible. The beetles that were noisy just now suddenly became quiet. The invincible king in their eyes actually had one of his armor wings chopped off by an 8th grade mantis. And it was cut off from the hardest wing root. This. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would never believe it. Bai Wei was already ready to die. He had even targeted 3 6th grade beetles before he died. The reason why I don't choose high-quality products is because I'm afraid it won't break the defense. Just when it was about to find a mobile knife, it was stunned by the scene in front of it. Lu Qing cut off the Beetle King's armor wings with one knife. It's so fierce. Lu Qing looked at the fallen armor wings and felt satisfied. Good. Just as he had estimated, the defense of the 9th grade beetle was useless under his sword. His sword flicked. By the way, it was the first blow just now. Come on, stand still. The second blow will be coming soon. The Beetle King came to his senses instantly. What? The second knife. With the first blow, my armor and wings were all destroyed by me. Do you really want to use the second blow? Without its proud defense, the beetle's slow reaction would make it a living target. My back is full of soft meat, and now I am afraid that any Zerg of level 7 or above can kill me alone at level 9. Now that Lu Qing was about to strike a second time, it panicked. The short legs were scratching wildly, trying to turn around. Wait, let me rest for a while and then we'll come back. Take a break. I think you want to run away. This little trick can still fool him. Lu Qing flapped his wings and hung in the air. No need to rest, I'll be quick. After saying that, his wings suddenly exploded and his body turned into an afterimage. This time Lu Qing aimed at the Beetle King's other armor wing. Exactly the same as before. After Lu Qing retracted his sword foot, the other armor wing had already slipped to the ground. Really removing armor. Beetle King feels super relaxed now. But the mood was extremely heavy. If it weren't for its short legs, it would really want to give itself a few blows on the head. Mud, you shouldn't be showing off. He also slashed 3 times, but after 2 slashes, his armor wings were gone. The last remaining blow is to clear the health bar. There is no way to escape. After all, without wings, how could it outrun a mantis with just 2 rows of short legs? So it gave up. Why? Our beetle defense is unparalleled among the Zerg, why can you? What Lu Qing is thinking about now is its energy core, and he is not in the mood to give it any answers before it dies. Under the gaze of all the beetles, the blade's foot drew a brilliant red line. The Beetle King's body was instantly separated. Digging for energy cores has dug up experience. This knife cut right down to the edge of the energy core. As soon as the beetle's head fell off, the energy core was exposed. Lu Qing raised his sword foot and sent the energy core directly into his mouth. The energy core is instantly absorbed by the system. Get flesh and blood value plus 2100. 2001. Last time, the Mantis clan's energy cores only had 1500, while the Beetle King's had 600 more. Could it be that fresh ones are better? The beetles reacted. Oh my god, the Beetle King they had just promoted was already dead before he could lead them to glory. The king's hardest carapace could not even block a single blow. This mantis is so powerful, they are 100% here to eat. These beetles do not have the courage of locusts, they immediately started to riot, and then ran away blindly. Bai Wei was stunned. He thought it was a dead end. He even planned to take someone with him as a scapegoat. As a result, Lu Qing killed the Beetle King with 3 strikes. He knew it was fierce, but he did not expect it to be so fierce. That was a 9th grade Beetle King. The 9th grade, who was best at defense, was as fragile as an egg skin under the 8th grade Lu Qing's knife. What kind of monster is this? Lu Qing glanced at Bai Wei. Don't just stand there, 3 5th grade ones just ran away, why don't you chase them? He was not interested in the 5th grade, so this kind of work had to be given to Bai Wei. The other party reacted, and his eyes became clearer. It responded hurriedly. Chase, chase now. The great ancestor was in a very heavy mood. The Beetle King was promoted to the 9th rank, but Lu Qing and Bai Wei ran into him head-on. Even in his prime, he had no chance of winning against the Beetle King. Not to mention that there were only 2 8th rank, although one of them was extremely powerful, it was only powerful in front of the 8th rank. Against the 9th rank. The final result is obvious, it must be a vain death. It was not easy to wake up such a powerful 8th rank mantis, but before it could make a contribution, such a thing happened. The luck of our mantis clan is really bad. Hurry, fly faster. Even though the passage was not spacious, in order to increase the speed, the great ancestor still asked all the mantises to fly to the beetle's nest. Lu Qing, by way, you two have to hold on. The great ancestor had already thought it through in his mind. As long as Lu Qing and Bai Wei are not dead when they reach the beetle nest, then even if it costs its old bones, it will find a glimmer of hope for them. The great ancestor led a group of mantises to hurry on. Follow up, the beetle nest is not far ahead. Hurry up. The end of the passage is right in front of him. The great ancestor rushed in without hesitation. After rushing into the cave, the great ancestor waved the almost rusty sickle. Beetle King, what's the point of bullying 2 8th grades? Come on, fight me, a 9th grade, for 300 rounds. Before the voice transmission was finished, it stopped. Because not far away, there was a huge headless corpse lying. It had dealt with the Beetle King before, and only the 9th grade Beetle King could reach this size. What's going on? Why is the Beetle King headless? And why are there broken beetle corpses everywhere? What happened? The great ancestor was stunned. At this moment, Bai Wei, who was chasing the 5th grade beetles, turned back. Great ancestor, why are you here? The great ancestor came back to his senses, and he trembled his blade feet and pointed at the corpses and fragments on the ground. What's going on? Bai Wei folded his wings and landed steadily on the ground. Isn't it obvious enough? They were all chopped off. Am I blind? That's what you're asking. I'm asking who chopped them off. Did any insects help you? Bai Wei answered straightforwardly, help. Who would help if they met and killed each other? Of course, these were chopped off by Lu Qing, could it be me? Lu Qing, this, the great ancestor asked again with uncertainty. These corpses, especially the Beetle King, were killed by Lu Qing. Bai Wei left the corpses of 3 5th grade beetles. I just said it once, and I'll say it again. Of course it was Lu Qing who killed it, could it be me? The great ancestor pointed at the body of the Beetle King with trembling hands. But this is the 9th grade Beetle King, 9th grade. Lu Qing is only 8th grade, no matter how strong he is, he can't kill the Beetle King. You think it's outrageous? I think it's outrageous too. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe it. Let me tell you, the Beetle King was very pretentious at the time and asked Lu Qing to chop it 3 times. As a result, the first chop cut off his wings. It described it, and the great ancestor was secretly amazed. The defense of the beetle is naturally suppressed by the mantis. But this set doesn't work at all in front of Lu Qing, even the 9th grade Beetle King was instantly broken. So how strong is the 8th grade Lu Qing? By the way, where is Lu Qing? There was no sign of Lu Qing in the beetle nest. I don't know, maybe he went to chase. The group of mantises that came over were also amazed at the huge corpse of the Beetle King. Is this the Beetle King that just got promoted to the 9th rank? It doesn't look that good. The 9th rank beetle was defeated, what is the strength of this new one? Didn't the great ancestor say that the new Lu Qing is the 8th rank? 8th rank, which 8th rank can chop a 9th rank beetle into this? Is there a possibility that it's not that Lu Qing is too strong, but that the Beetle King is too weak? Weak? How dare you say that? Have you forgotten what bit off your blade foot? Just as the group of mantises were talking endlessly, Lu Qing had returned again. After seeing the great ancestor, he greeted him. Why are you here? The great ancestor was speechless. After a pause, he said, we originally came to rescue you too, but it seems that there is no need to rescue you. Lu Qing said, okay, in the beetle nest, the 9th grade Beetle King and 8 8th grade beetles have all been dealt with by me, and you can handle the rest. The Beetle King and the 8 8th grade beetles are the backbone of the Beetle Clan in the 9 Domains Holy Land. Now that these beetles are dead, the Beetle Clan is basically kicked out of the 9 Domains Holy Land. Then the beetles' territory will naturally be taken over by the mantises. As for the beetle territory outside the 9 Domains Holy Land, the queen will slowly eat it up. Lu Qing moved closer to the direction of the great ancestor. On our left is the beetle tribe, what's on the right? The sky-covering locust. Lu Qing's eyes lit up immediately. The locusts have low defense, are not afraid of death, and don't know how to run. Killing them is the most exciting. Lu Qing was greedy. Does the sky-covering locust have a 9th grade? A 9th grade is 2000 plus experience. No, but in the 9 domains Holy Land, there are many 8th grade sky-covering locusts, about 20 or so, and they are also a force that cannot be underestimated. The great ancestor turned his head to look at Lu Qing and sent a voice in a puzzled tone, "Why are you asking about the locusts?" "Of course, they are used to gain experience. I'm free anyway, why not go find some locusts to play with?" The great ancestor was stunned. "No, you just destroyed the nest of the beetle tribe, and you're thinking about the sky-covering locusts without even taking a breath." The great ancestor took a while to come back to his senses. "The territory of the fighting saint beetle is so large, let's absorb and consolidate it first, and develop it for 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years. They are all suffering from the old mantis disease like you." Lu Qing refuted impatiently, "The beetle's nest has been destroyed, can it still run in such a large place? I'm not asking you to go there with a large force. As usual, find me a guide, and don't worry about the rest." Lu Qing's desire for experience is very strong. After all, he is very close to the advanced form. Without waiting for Lao Dang to respond, he looked to the side. "Hey, Bai Wei, come here." At this time, Bai Wei was tasting the corpse of the beetle king. When it turned its head, its arrogance reappeared. "Get out of the way. This is the meat of the beetle king. If you want to eat it, you have to line up behind me. I, Bai Wei, don't have the habit of eating with other mantises." The mantises immediately stood behind, looking at the unruly Bai Wei helplessly and fearfully. At this time, Lu Qing's voice came. After hearing Lu Qing's voice, Bai Hui's unruly attitude disappeared instantly, and he turned to hold his knife foot and flew over like a good boy. I'm here, are you looking for me? I'm not completely familiar with the terrain of this 9 domains Holy Land, let's go to the sky-covering locust to have a look." After this incident, it also understood what Lu Qing meant by familiar terrain. "See, it's better to do it," Bai Wei said without any hesitation. "No problem, when are we going?" "Now." After saying that, he took the lead in flying towards the passage. So anxious, those who don't know would think that Master Lu is rushing to meet the female. Bai Wei also flapped his wings and flew towards Lu Qing. The great ancestor's blade foot scratched his triangular head. "No, you two don't even ask me, the boss. The sky-covering locusts are on the other side of the mantis territory. So they need to return to the mantis territory and then kill into the locust territory." This process was extremely smooth. The sky-covering locusts. After entering the first resource area of the locusts guarding the resource areas were stunned as a whole, as if they didn't understand why a lone mantis dared to break into their territory. Then these locusts began to attack with their fangs and claws. The locusts are not afraid of death, and they rush forward without martial ethics when they encounter enemies. Lu Qing likes this. 2 big knives, just chop it off. The huge left blade foot passed with a red mark, and with just this casual knife, 7 locusts were beheaded. The right blade foot was not much better, and after one strike, 8 locusts were chopped off. In just a few strokes, more than 100 locusts had become corpses. At this time, Bai Hui's blade foot just popped out, and he was ready to show off his powerful fighting skills in front of Lu Qing. As a result, more than 100 locusts died neatly in a few seconds. Lu Qing was not satisfied either. The blade foot was retracted. "Tisk, it's too fragile." Bai Wei was speechless. Fragile. Locusts have always relied on speed and numbers to rush forward. That kind of crazy energy, which race would have to retreat? As a result, such a strong Zerg was chopped cleanly by you with a few knives. It's not that they are not strong, but they met a pervert. Don't be stunned, lead the way to the next resource area. Bai Wei came to his senses, retracted the blade foot that he had just stretched out, and continued to lead the way. It's almost cool. Lu Qing shook the blade foot, and green blood splashed on the ground. This is the nest of the sky-covering locust. The ground was densely covered with the corpse fragments of the sky-covering locusts. This species is just numerous. There are nearly 5,000 sky-covering locusts in the nest, all of which are above the 5th grade. There are even 17 8th grade sky-covering locusts. There are 17 8th grade locusts. Although there are no 9th grade ones, there is absolutely no 9th grade locust that dares to invade easily. But even such powerful locusts were chopped cleanly by Lu Qing like cutting melons and vegetables. Even because of their fearless characteristics, not a single one escaped. Just when Lu Qing felt that he was going to kill happily, the scene became quiet. Killed them all. Hearing that Lu Qing was still a little short, Bai Wei silently put away his knife foot. Now it has understood. If you say I am a guide, I am a guide. It's not that I don't want to participate in the battle, but there is no chance at all. In addition to leading the way, it has no chance to do anything else. Lu Qing skillfully brushed away all the energy cores. Turning to look at Bai Wei, which tribe is on the right? Still coming. Not enough. Golden armored longhorn beetle. Golden armored longhorn beetle is powerful, and the 2 whips on its head are quite powerful. Because they are not bordering each other, there are fewer conflicts with the Mantis tribe. This is good. It's fun to fight. Bai Wei responded hesitantly, aren't you tired? You have already wiped out 2 Zerg tribes. Lu Qing waved his blade, full of vigor. No, I'm energetic now. You are energetic, but I am exhausted as the guide. Bai Wei reminded. There are 9 grades of longhorn beetle, and they are very powerful. The 2 whips dance tightly. 9th grade is good. More than 2,000 experience points. Got it, let's get going. I can't wait. Bai Wei spread his wings. Aren't you afraid of being whipped by the golden armored longhorn beetle? Now that you say that, I'm looking forward to it even more. The golden armored longhorn beetle's nest. As a Zerg with both defensive and offensive capabilities, longhorn beetles are rarely attacked by other races. The longhorn beetle king is 4 meters long, but its tentacles are an exaggerated 6 meters long. Once the whip is swung, the huge force will smash any target. It is precisely because of their offensive and defensive capabilities and super strength that their clan is relatively comfortable. But this comfort was broken today. Lu Qing flew in and landed on the boulder. The 2 knives flashed. Please, whip me. The words made the longhorn beetle king confused. What's going on? I was enjoying a delicious meal, and then a mantis popped out and asked me to whip it. Playing so perverted. Do you think I'm a whip? I will rip your little mantis belly apart with this horn whip. The longhorn beetle king was already angry for daring to enter its territory, and he even yelled for a whip. Then, I'll do you a favor. The longhorn beetle king spread his wings and flew straight towards Lu Qing. When he thought the distance was right, he shook his head lightly and pulled out 2 whips with great force. The whips crossed the little mantis's neck without any surprise. The longhorn beetle king was extremely confident. Even if a 9th grade mantis was hit, it would be seriously injured, let alone this mere 8th grade one. A mere mantis, you are simply ignorant of death. It suddenly found something wrong. The whip went over, and it clearly hit, but it felt like there was no obstruction, as if it had not touched anything. Then, the mantis actually disappeared. That is not a real entity, but an afterimage. Single quote. After the longhorn beetle king found that it was just an afterimage, he felt pain in his abdomen. It shook its body, but fell directly from the air. Before it landed, it saw a familiar half of its buttocks falling to the ground. There was still a half leaf of wings floating in the air. Whose buttocks are missing? Single quote. As soon as the thought came out, it found that its lower body had no feeling at all. When it fell to the ground, it turned its head and saw that its lower body was empty. That's mine. Single quote. Lu Qing was hanging in the air with a big knife. The golden armored longhorn beetle was in so much pain, and its scarlet eyes stared at Lu Qing fiercely. Didn't you ask me to whip you? Why are you hiding? Lu Qing slowly fell to the ground. Yes, I gave you a chance. You can't hit such a big target like me, you are useless. I gave you a chance, but you are useless. The golden armored longhorn beetle endured the severe pain and wanted to shake its head and launch an attack again. However, Lu Qing's knife was faster after all, and he cut off its head with one stroke. The tentacles and the head bounced to the side, still shaking up and down. I am a 9th grade mantis. Why can't I beat a mere 8th grade mantis? The strong vitality supported it to finish the last part of the voice transmission. However, it will never have the chance to know the answer. Lu Qing hooked his knife foot, took out the energy core, and threw it into the mouth while it was fresh. Get flesh and blood value plus 2,300. Oh, another 200 points. Earned. The group of golden-armored longhorn beetles watched their king's energy core being eaten, and they were indignant. They actually killed our king. Brothers, avenge the king. Yes, revenge, use the blood of the mantis to comfort the king's heroic spirit. Brothers, don't shrink back, kill it. Hey, don't run. There is only one of it, why are you running? The golden-armored longhorn beetle only plays in a favorable situation. After the king was killed, they all shouted loudly and ran fast. The longhorn beetles that had gathered just now, in the blink of an eye, scattered and ran in all directions. This time, Lu Qing was completely helpless. Hearing them shouting so fiercely, he thought he could harvest another wave. Unexpectedly, they looked golden, but they were actually a group of soft eggs. This group of golden-armored longhorn beetles ran around everywhere. If you really want to chase them, unless you have a clone, you can only catch a limited number of them. Lu Qing chased after an 8th grade beetle. Hey, don't run. Come, whip me. You have cut our king in two, and I'm still whipping you, whip you. At the moment when the voice transmission was distracted, Lu Qing had already caught up. The knife rose and fell, and its head was cut off. He didn't even bother to dig the energy core, and turned around to chase another 8th grade beetle. This one, don't run, I won't cut you. This one was even more daring, and even looked back. Looking at the huge knife foot, he was almost scared to death. I don't believe you. The knife fell. Ghost. Oops, I got hit. It was too late for the 7th grade to chase. Lu Qing could only rely on his super speed to give the 8th grade a fatal blow. After chasing 4 in a row, the 8th grade was basically no longer visible in the nest of the golden-armored longhorn beetle. Just when Lu Qing was about to give up, he heard Bai Hui's voice transmission. Here, I stopped 3. Hurry up, I can't hold on. Lu Qing hurriedly flew in the direction of the voice transmission. After flying into the passage, he saw Bai Wei occupying the narrowest part. 3 8th grades, and 8 7th grades were blocked behind. The 3 8th grades who were eager to escape would certainly not surrender. Their whips were whipped at Bai Wei without cost. The place was small and there was not much room to dodge. Bai Wei could only block 2 blows with 2 knives, and then was whipped 4 times by the longhorn beetle's whip. The muffled groan and the whip sound merged into one. Ah, yeah, it hurts. After several blows, his abdomen was already full of scars. These are the same grade. If it was the Longicorn King, these few blows would probably pull out his internal organs. Lu Qing killed 2 of them with 1 knife, and sent them to the west in a few seconds. While digging out the energy core, he praised. I didn't expect you to be so tough, and you dared to stop so many 7th grade and 8th grade ones. Bai Wei leaned against the stone wall and made a weak groaning sound. I'm so tough. My side foot is stuck in the crack of the stone, and I can't even turn around. Otherwise, do you think I like being whipped? Lu Qing looked up. Sure enough, Bai Hui's side foot was stuck in the crack of the stone, and it was stuck very deep. I see, I thought you had a strong taste. After saying that, he threw the 8th grade energy core into the mouth. Bai Wei begged, brother, can you not eat it first? Get my side foot out. Easy. Lu Qing stood up and raised his knife foot, and the stone was broken into pieces with the knife. Bai Wei quickly pulled out his secondary leg, then shrank his body and looked at Lu Qing with resentment. You said you would whip me, but I got whipped. Lu Qing tried not to laugh and threw an 8th grade energy core to him. Bai Wei immediately became energetic and caught the energy core. This whipping was not in vain, it was exquisite. He took a small bite and then sent a telepathic message in ecstasy. Well, it feels good. Lu Qing. Look, the process and result of being whipped are connected now. Lu Qing brushed off all the remaining energy cores. Turned around and looked at Bai Wei, who was covered in scars. How is it? Can you still move? Bai Hui's blade foot swung, with the remaining energy core stuck on it. It's too badly injured, I can't move at all. After transmitting the message, he groaned a few times. Hum, 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 hum. Lu Qing shook his wings. What a pity. If you could move, I was going to reward you with another 8th grade energy core, but, forget it, forget it. Give it back. Bai Wei instantly shook himself. It stood up as soon as it flapped its wings. I can move. It's just a minor injury. I can stand it even if another 18 longhorn beetles whip me. Actually, I love the feeling of being whipped. While transmitting the message, he picked up a longhorn beetle's head and waved it a few times to prove its strength. It can move. That's good. Lu Qing asked, which Zerg is on the right? Bai Wei thought for a while. If the rumor is correct, it should be a three-tailed scorpion. Three-tailed scorpion. This was the first time he had heard of scorpions since he had stepped into the insect-singing grassland. Of course, a big reason was that he had never asked before. Three-tailed scorpions are extremely poisonous, and their tails are extremely sharp. They are an extremely dangerous species in the 9 Domains Holy Land. Most importantly, they have 3 tails, each of which is very flexible. Also, their claws are very powerful. Although the three-tailed scorpion is not of the 9th rank, it is definitely the one with the strongest overall strength in the 9 Domains Holy Land. Lu Qing nodded. It doesn't matter, my broadsword does not pick races. Bai Wei quickly said, I'll pick. I have no experience fighting against three-tailed scorpions, so it's all up to you. Well, it's okay, if there are any that run away, just stop them. If you stop them, they will be stabbed into a sieve, right? Under Lu Qing's urging, Bai Wei took off. But as soon as he flew up, he heard a message, I don't know how to go either. It has never been to the three-tailed scorpion's territory, so it naturally doesn't know where the three-tailed scorpion's lair is. Lu Qing thought for a moment, it doesn't matter, just find a golden armored beetle. Golden armored beetles are afraid of death, so there is no problem in catching one and letting it lead the way. Lu Qing and Bai Wei found a 7th grade golden armored beetle without much effort. The golden armored beetle is also very alert. After noticing the presence of the praying mantis, it spreads its wings and wants to fly. Bai Wei quickly extended his sword foot and said, Don't run away, Longhorn. We are not here to kill you, but to ask you to do a favor. How could the beetle listen? Are you still asking for a whipping? As a result, even our king was hacked to death. Can you believe it? It spreads its wings and flees. Bai Hui's speed couldn't catch up with the 7th grade beetle, not to mention that the opponent was familiar with the terrain, so only Lu Qing could do this. Let's see what I can do. As soon as Lu Qing's flying skill was activated, an afterimage was instantly drawn. In just a few breaths, he had already arrived behind the golden armored longhorn beetle. 7th grade. He couldn't hold it back for a moment, so he chopped a little harder and just chopped off the head. The message from the beetle who did not die immediately was full of resentment. No, you won't kill me, will you? Lu Qing was also angry. He also said, if you hadn't flown so fast, would I have chopped you? If I didn't chop you, I wouldn't have used excessive force. Under its dying gaze, Lu Qing skillfully took out the energy core while transmitting the message. Get flesh value plus 21 feet. Really nice. After eating its energy core in front of the beetle became angry. Only then did Bai Wei catch up. Seeing the separated corpse of the 7th grade beetle, Bai Wei was speechless for a moment. Aren't you looking for someone to lead the way? You. The chop was a bit heavy, I'll be more careful next time. The head is all gone. Was the chop a bit heavy? Bai Wei was speechless and couldn't answer, but at this time Lu Qing discovered a new situation. Hey, there's another one over there. In an inconspicuous corner, a 5th grade golden armored beetle was trembling. Don't worry, we won't kill you. The golden armored beetle shivered, you said the same thing to my father just now. Yo, we are still a family. It was only 5th grade, so of course Lu Qing wouldn't care. Don't worry, we're just asking you to do a favor. Help with what? Look for the three-tailed scorpion's lair. If you don't know, then you are of little value to us. Bai Wei will definitely hack you to death. The white ash on the side. I know the three-tailed scorpion's lair. Very well, come on, take us there. The golden armored beetle obediently spread its wings and flew towards the passage. Lu Qing and Bai Wei also followed steadily. The whip on the head of the golden armored beetle waved lightly, the three-tailed scorpion's lair is ahead. I've found it with you too, can you leave now? Walk. I don't think I said anything about letting you go. Lu Qing thought for a moment, yes, I never said that. I'm a man of my word. Since I didn't tell you, I definitely can't let you go. To cut the grass, we need to get rid of the roots. If you chop your father, you can't be justified if you don't. Little beetle, have you ever heard a word? A family must be neat and tidy. The golden armored beetle was full of doubts. What is neat? What does it mean? It's okay if you don't know, you'll know it in your next life. Lu Qing's knife was as fast as lightning and instantly pierced its head. The huge blade pierced the entire head, and the 5th grade beetle didn't even groan. It's not that it's tough, it's that it dies instantly. After getting rid of the 5th grade beetle, Bai Wei has arrived at the fork. If you go left, you will find the 3-tailed scorpion's lair, so I choose the right. Lu Qing ignored it and walked directly to the left passage to the 3-tailed scorpion's lair. Bai Wei came out of the passage on the right again, still vaguely cursing. It's a dead end, bah, a dead end, there's no way over there. 3-tailed scorpions do not have 9th grade, but their strength is definitely among the top 3 among the 9 tribes. They have black armor on their bodies are about 3 meters long, and their 3 scorpion tails are all about 5 meters long. The barbed scorpion tail shines with a light blue light, and you can tell at a glance that it contains poison. A pair of claws are hard and powerful, and any random collision will make a similar metallic sound. It is also very quick in action. Apart from not being able to fly, it doesn't seem to have any weaknesses. On the stone lies the largest 3-tailed scorpion. Its body shape is obviously larger than the ordinary 8th grade one, and the length of the 3 scorpion tails is almost more than 6 meters. This should be the Scorpion King. Bai Wei was already trembling when he saw this shape. Their tails are so terrifying, and their big claws are bigger than ours, and not smaller than my knife feet. Once they are pinched, they will definitely break into 2 pieces. Lu Qing glanced at it sideways. Are you scared? It's poisonous. How can you not be afraid? The 9 Zerg races are the only ones that are poisonous. If you touch a little of that thing, it will be so painful that you will die. How can you not be afraid? Lu Qing's sword foot popped out, turned around and asked a question. You said, if you use a scorpion to poison a scorpion, will the scorpion be poisoned? Why do I feel it's a bit profound? No, the battle is about to begin. Brother, how do you still have time to think about these things? That's right, I don't want to. The wings behind Lu Qing exploded instantly. The afterimage gradually dissipated. The next second, he had already landed on the back of a 3-tailed scorpion. This was an ordinary 8th grade 3-tailed scorpion. Because Lu Qing's speed was too fast, he hadn't reacted when he landed on its back. Lu Qing's knife foot drew a red line. The target, the scorpion's tail. The scorpion's tail is composed of segmented armor, which ensures flexibility, but it is also a defensive loophole. Lu Qing didn't even use his attack skills, and he easily cut off half of the scorpion's tail. The other knife foot grabbed the fallen scorpion's tail, aimed the barb at the scorpion's back, and stabbed it hard into the soft armor connected to the head and back. This 8th grade 3-tailed scorpion finally reacted. Hiss, it hurts. Mantises are invading. My back is so itchy. It twisted its body and the remaining 2 tails, but it found that it could not use any strength at all, not even the strength to lift its tail. What's wrong with me? It was at a loss, not knowing why it suddenly felt weak, and even a little nauseous. The 3-tailed scorpion that had begun to gather around reminded it. You. Daughter poisoned. Poisoned. I'm a poisonous scorpion. You were stabbed by your own tail needle. The poisoned scorpion wanted to communicate for help, but found that it could not transmit sound. In just 10 seconds, the scorpion had already started to spit out blue foam, and after a few more seconds, it was completely motionless. Lu Qing, who was in the air, turned to look at Bai Wei. It seems that scorpion poison can kill scorpions. Bai Wei almost fell from the air. I just said there was no need to discuss it, and you thought it made sense, but then you turned around and picked up the 8th grade 3-tailed scorpion. If you don't discuss it, just experiment. Mantis tribe, I didn't expect you to come to our territory silently. The Scorpion King crawled over, raising his head slightly and staring at Lu Qing in the air. Why didn't the golden armored longhorned beetle stop you? Could it be that the 2 of you have reached some secret agreement? Lu Qing responded unhurriedly, golden armored longhorned beetle. These cowards were beaten away by me. You won't be as cowardly as the golden armored longhorned beetle, right? He was really afraid that these scorpions would also run away, which would mean he would lose a lot of experience. The Scorpion King suddenly became furious. How can we three-tailed scorpions be like those shrinking beetles? We will tear into pieces any enemy that breaks in. Then it transmitted the message and said, haha, you are only an 8th grade mantis and you dare to come to us. Come on, come down and see if I can prick you. That's it. Lu Qing didn't waste any time and directly used his dual skills on the Scorpion King. Scorpion's reaction speed is actually pretty good, but when faced with a pervert like Lu Qing, it has no moves at all. When the figure turned into an afterimage, it felt a little bad. However, the next second he felt threatened by death. It instinctively stretches out its claws. It was this instinctive reaction that really touched Lu Qing's blade. The sound of gold and stone clashing sounded. In an instant, the Scorpion King felt as if his claws were no longer his. Turning his head to look, he discovered that the place where Lu Qing's blade collided with it was actually dented, and the tender meat inside could already be seen. His iron-like claws were actually damaged like this by the mantis blade. However, just when it was about to activate its tail needle to sting, Lu Qing had already slashed the soft armor on the back of its head. The powerful force directly cut through its soft armor. Your Majesty, tear the mantis to pieces and avenge the king. The group of scorpions did not run away, but rushed towards Lu Qing. It seems that the Scorpion King did not lie. Lu Qing started to fight with his 2 swords. He is really brave. Lu Qing's blade foot clashed head-on with the clawed foot of an ordinary 8th grade scorpion. The scorpion was not as hard as the Scorpion King, so it was chopped off by Lu Qing and the head was chopped off. Several tail needles struck with poisonous stings, and Lu Qing swept across with his broadsword, cutting off all the tail needles. When Bai Wei saw how brave Lu Qing was, he suddenly felt a little bit more interested in comparison. I will show you my hands today to save you from bullying me in the future. Bai Wei showed his sword foot and slashed at an 8th grade 3-tailed scorpion. The 3-tailed scorpion's claws extend head to head. Then let you see the hardness of our mantis. The gray blade feet and claw feet collided together. The scene of the claws being chopped open by itself did not appear. On the contrary, the opponent directly restrained the claws. Bai Wei understood instantly. It's not that the 3-tailed scorpion is weak, it's that Lu Qing is too strong. Single quote. 3 tail needles stabbed at Bai Hui's belly. Being restrained, it could only dodge in a panic while drawing out its blade. Grand Ancestor is too busy. It was so busy that it felt severe pain all over its body. But its mood is good. A large number of praying mantises were mobilized, which can be regarded as occupying all the beetle's territory. Great Ancestor, hurry, hurry. A mantis flew quickly to report. The Great Ancestor twisted his body and said, don't be anxious, speak slowly. Slow, you can't be slow. Lu Qing and Bai Wei have already penetrated the locust's territory. What? The Great Ancestor knew that they were heading to the locust territory, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. You must know that migratory locusts always win in numbers. They also have the largest number in the 9 realms Holy Land. Are you sure? The praying mantis that carried the message fell. There were corpses everywhere, not a single one alive, and with the characteristics of migratory locusts, as long as there are intruders, they will definitely fight to the death. If you die, you will rest. The Great Ancestor's mind changed rapidly. There is a large area. After occupying the beetle's territory, their defensive power was diluted, and now they have captured a large area. The mantis is obviously not enough. But the situation was urgent, and such a big piece of fat had to be eaten, otherwise it would be an advantage to other Zerg races. Quickly, go report to the Queen and ask her to mobilize 1,000, no, 3,000 elites into the Holy Land. Go quickly. The level of elites outside is a bit low, but in this case, it's still okay to give it a try. 3,000 are already all the elites of the Mantis clan, including those of rank 5 and above in each camp. When the Mantis soldiers went to report to the Queen, the Great Ancestor felt that his body was no longer in pain, and the whole Mantis was energetic. Lu Qing, you really gave me a big surprise. You captured 2 nests in just over a day, ha ha ha. Just after a few seconds of pride, another Mantis soldier came to report. Great Ancestor, the golden-armored longhorned beetles fled. Some of them have already escaped from the longhorned lair. After investigation, the golden-armored longhorned beetles were killed by Lu Qing. There are no survivors of the 8th grade. Ah, the great ancestor just stood aside. The golden-armored beetles were all destroyed. This race only plays with a tailwind and runs away when it encounters a headwind. The route makes sense, but such a big territory. Does it also have to be accepted by our Mantis tribe? You go to the Queen and ask the Queen to add 3,000 more troops. It doesn't matter whether they are elite or not, it's about quantity. It knows that there are not so many elites. Let's take up the space now. Not long after this mantis left, another one flew over. The great ancestor's heart trembled. I was excited to take over the territory just now, but now I am afraid. Master Lu, you are my master. Our Mantis clan has a limited number, so you must not give us any more territory. However, what are you afraid of? Grand Ancestor, the three-tailed scorpion's lair has been breached. There are stingers and corpses everywhere. The great ancestor's body was trembling. Okay, go and find the queen. As soon as the mantis left, it lay directly on the ground. 4 Zerg species were wiped out. Lu Qing, please stop fighting. We don't have that many praying mantises. Of course Lu Qing didn't know that the great ancestor was in pain and happy now. All he has to do is gain experience. The day when all 9 clans were wiped out was when he continuously broke through to advanced forms. Lu Qing did the math. There are 5 races in total. Locusts, beetles, scorpions, and the fire-breathing insects we just killed. Then there are 4 more races. Well, soon. The white-gray body on the side trembled. Brother, you don't want to destroy the Mantis tribe too, do you? Brother Bai, why did you say this? Bai Wei almost cried. 9 tribes, 5 tribes have been destroyed, and the remaining 4 tribes have mantises. If you destroy them all, doesn't that include us? Oh, yes, I accidentally included you. Bai Wei you said, brother, do you think you are very humorous? The capital of the Mantis tribe. The queen is recuperating. Last time, the inner storehouse was taken by Lu Qing, and the energy core of the ancestor was eaten, which made it feel a little distressed. In addition to the injuries on her body, she has not had a good time these 2 days. Just when she was in a bad mood, a mantis came in. Mantises don't have too many rules. As long as they pass the inner guards, they can see the queen. Looking at the mantis coming in, it knew that it was back from the Holy Land. Immediately straightened her body and took the posture of the queen. Is there anything wrong with returning from the Holy Land? The mantis who reported the news immediately hugged her knife feet. I am here to gather the elites and go to the Holy Land on the order of the great ancestor. The queen stood up immediately. But the battle situation is not good. Could it be that the Beetle King has broken through to the 9th level of the 2nd level? Last time in the battle with the Beetle King, the Mantis tribe suffered a great loss, and the resource point was also snatched away by the Beetle tribe. The Beetle King was already very close to the 9th rank, and after snatching that resource point, it is entirely possible to be promoted to the 9th rank. The Mantis immediately sent a message. The Beetle King has indeed been promoted to the 9th rank. Sure enough, the queen immediately squatted back weakly. The beetle has thick armor and high defense, and it is difficult for the mantis to break through the defense. Now that the Beetle King has been promoted to the 9th rank, it will be very disadvantageous to the Mantis tribe. Even because of the border, the Mantis's territory may be compressed again. Compression means a reduction in resources, which is extremely disadvantageous for the development of the Mantis tribe. The queen has even decided to return to the Holy Land herself, although her injuries are quite serious and have not healed. There are not many elites in my tribe. If you want, you need to mobilize from the 7 camps, which will take some time. Let's do this. I will lead the elites of the capital to support and hold on first. What support? What hold on? What is the queen talking about? The mantis who sent the message was a little confused. Did the queen misunderstand? We don't need support, we only need 3,000 elites. No support. Isn't the Beetle King already at the 9th level? How can he not need support? With the hostility of the Beetle tribe towards us, they will definitely invade us. The Beetle tribe is no longer hostile to us. The messenger continued, because the beetles in the Holy Land are all dead. We ask the queen to mobilize elites not for support, but to go and take over the territory. After all, the beetles' territory is still very fertile. Ah, the queen was stunned on the spot. What does it mean? The beetles were completely wiped out. How is that possible? Didn't you just say that the Beetle King is already at the 9th level? How? Why did you say that he was completely wiped out? 9th level. In the 9 regions Holy Land, no, the entire insect singing grassland is the absolute combat power ceiling. When a race like the beetle, which has super strong defense, reaches the 9th level, it is almost invincible. Unless it dies of old age or doesn't want to live anymore, almost no race can kill it. Did you remember it wrong, or was the message delivered wrong? Error. I saw the Beetle King's body torn apart with my own eyes, and even tasted it. The meat is a bit tough. The messenger mantis immediately transmitted the message, yes, I tasted the Beetle King myself. If it weren't for the urgent mission, I would have eaten my fill. Eat my fill. The queen felt more and more incredible. Is the Beetle King really dead? How did he die? Lu Qing, the outsider you sent, cut off all the claws and wings with 3 cuts, and cut the Beetle King into a fleshy worm. With 3 cuts, the Beetle King was cut into a fleshy worm. Lu Qing, so strong. You know, that's the 9th rank. The peak of the fighting power of the insect grassland. And Lu Qing is only the 8th rank. Can the 8th rank really easily defeat the 9th rank? The queen's heart was in turmoil. It's incredible. It's subversive. Okay, 3,000 elites will go to the Holy Land before tomorrow to consolidate our achievements. The messenger mantis immediately withdrew, leaving the queen alone in a daze. Unexpectedly, Lu Qing had only been there for less than 2 days and had made such a contribution to the mantis tribe. This surprise was really a bit big. Once the Beetle King and the elite died, it would be difficult for the beetle tribe to turn over within 100 years. And as one rises and the other falls, the mantis tribe will gradually grow stronger. After integrating resources, it may be possible to cultivate a 9th grade. At that time, the glory of the mantis tribe will shine in the insect grassland. It is difficult to gather the 3,000 elites needed for the Holy Land. However, the territory is already our mantis tribe. No matter how difficult it is, we must send out 3,000 elites to completely control the territory and resources of the beetles. The queen began to calculate which camp to draw the real elites from. Just as it was thinking, another messenger mantis came in from the Holy Land. Queen, the great ancestor wants 10,000 elites. The words that came up made the queen almost lose her balance. How come 3,000 became 10,000 again? Are you kidding me? 3,000 can still be squeezed in. 10,000. Where can there be so many mantises above the 5th rank? This is really impossible to collect. How could the great ancestor not even know this? Moreover, there is no need for so many elites. The queen was a little impatient. It's just a beetle's territory. 3,000 elites are enough. What's the point of 10,000? No, the messenger mantis stretched out its blade. There are also locusts' territories, 2 territories. The great ancestor knows that we don't have that many elites, so 10,000 mantis soldiers with good strength will do. The locusts' territories. Could it be? The queen's voice was trembling. The locusts' nest was also breached. The messenger mantis nodded its triangular head repeatedly. Yes, it was breached, and there was no one alive. The real elites were all dead. That was also Lu Qing. Yes, that's him. Too fierce. You didn't see the scene. Tut tut, there were locust corpses everywhere, not a single intact one. When recalling the mantis nest, the messenger mantis shook its triangular head, as if it had opened its eyes for the first time. The locust's nest was also slaughtered. The queen instantly felt that her ancestor's energy core was too worth it. Lu Qing, an 8th grade, wiped out beetles and locusts in more than a day. The territory of our mantis tribe has expanded more than 3 times. So many resources, you can use them freely. As long as you keep developing steadily, a large number of more powerful mantises will appear in a short time. At that time, the mantis tribe will gradually become the strongest existence in the 9 domains Holy Land. And this possibility is very high. God bless my mantis tribe. This big fat meat, even if you grit your teeth, you have to eat it. 10,000, no problem. Mobilize the troops of the 7 camps immediately. The resources outside the Holy Land are far less than those inside the Holy Land. Of course, you have to arrange it with the Holy Land first. The messenger mantis left quickly. When the queen was about to order to go to the 7 camps, another messenger mantis came in. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.